All right. So let's go ahead and before we get started, share this on our respective pages, and then we can do our thing, my man.
Yes, sir. Feels good to be back.
Yeah, buddy. Uh, all right. We. Uh, all right. All right. All right. All right. All right. And we in there. I got my mojo. I got my
Yes,
mojo working.
yes, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody there on the check-in right now. What I want you to do is go ahead right now and share this on your page. We're going to have a great discussion. Man, things are coming together. I can't explain it enough, and things are really coming together for me and Tim. Just a position here at the Ohio Media School, the things that he's doing with his book, the things that we're doing with Good Friday. Actually, Good Friday was. Um, Tim's doing. I mean, matching kind of like the morning show with we have it on Friday now instead of Thursday. We have it on Friday. So thank you guys from switching from Thursday to Friday and just making that transition with us, man. We just trying to find that sweet spot so that way we can bring to you the raw, the real, the uncut, and everything like that. So congratulations for that. Not only that, congratulations in order for myself because before we get started in the show, what I wanted to do with the direction of the morning show is to kind of separate myself from my past now. Sometimes things have run its course. Sometimes things, vibrations, you have to kind of leave behind and say adios to so that way you can grow. Certain things are there for a certain amount of time or a period of time. And I wish we're already in progress. So Walisha, I can't really. Maybe Tim can text you and say you can come to the studio, or yep, yeah, you can text her right now and tell her she can still come to the studio if she like. But I said that to say this: the Uptown name had, as far as the Uptown show is concerned, has served its purpose. Starting in 2012 up until as of recent, when I changed the name, there was a lot of good things that happened with the Uptown show, a lot of in between things, and I have a lot of memories of that name. But I felt like to move forward, it was time to retire. It was time to bet on myself, bet on my name, because a lot of times, especially in a city that we say we have crab mentality. If you put your name in front of something, people automatically don't want to support it. People automatically will just sign off or write off on it. But there comes a time where you have to be bold and say, "This is who I am. This is the brand." And this is what I'm moving forward with. No matter if one person supports you, matter if 50 million people support you, you have to stand on your brand. And I had that enlightenment by none other than Tim.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to approach things with a lot of boldness
Hmm.
in order for people to feel you. So recently, last week, we changed this to the Lane Love Morning Show. Now, just to explain that, from Monday and Friday, it's always the Lane Love Morning Show, but we have people who have those particular shows for that day. So Good Friday Ohio is Tim's show, you know what I'm saying? But it's part of the Lane Love Morning Show, part of the Lane Love Morning Show brand. All right. So that's how we want to break that down, because I still love to give people opportunities. I still love partnership. I still love moving forward with people that are like-minded. So that's why we merge these ideas together. No ego or anything like that. We're just building brands so we can build legacy, so we can build that generational wealth. But other than that, welcome to the show.
I
long,
think that was a good kickoff for the show.
yeah, long intro, but it was much needed so people can explain. Because a lot of times you make moves and people can look to him and be like, "What the hell are they doing?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times as a creative, you keep it to yourself. You just
Yeah,
you got it in your notebook. If you want to, they could know, but you don't got to know. You know what I mean? And I think this is why this show is so instrumental, because we think ahead and then we apply. You know what I mean?
And sometimes as a creative, we expect people to automatically get it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that was why I made the transition to just using my name on everything, you know what I mean? And putting good life in my name. Cause I was the same way in the beginning. I wanted to ask people, what do you like about the brand? What would you call me? And then I had to just start telling them my name. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I had to change what I was doing instead of expecting them to change.
Absolutely, man. We got full 2 hours to pack some stuff. I mean, and it's going to take the full 2 hours. So anybody's going to check in. Good morning, sweetheart. Thank you so much for tuning in. Not only tuning in, but I know you've already shared it 50 million times. But I do want to go ahead and tell you guys to buckle up for this particular show because if you thought the last show could take you on an emotional roller coaster, this probably really will. It's probably, and I will say automatically, this show may trigger some people. It may trigger, and this is what we kind of want to do
Mm-hmm.
because um, sometimes triggering creates dialogue. You know what I mean? It's not that Tim and I are not holier than thou, sitting on the mountaintop saying that we have all the answers. And I think that's the misconception when it comes to a lot of people who have podcasts and when it comes to people who claim expert on a certain thing. A lot of things is that, you know, let me tell you something. The doctor that you go to is not fully capable. The doctor that you go to is not fully competent, but he is still in a position to guide, to recommend, to do things or speak from a place of experience of things of trial and error, experience of things of research and things of that nature. So we want to say that we are not speaking to you guys from a place of superiority. We are trying to bring people into the conversation and see if we can have some sort of resolution to the problems that we do face. Do you agree with that, Tim?
Yeah, wholeheartedly. To get the tough answers, you gotta ask the tough questions.
Right, right. And I could be wrong. I'm not going to speak for Tim, but in certain aspects, I could be wrong, or it could be just my opinion.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, it definitely applies. You know what I mean? And that's sometimes it comes off when we're in a place of hurt. You know, we're defending ourselves so much it feels like we're being attacked.
yes,
But for somebody who's really going to get through to you when you're in that much of a shell, it's going to be some effort. They're going to have to break through because you've built this defense around you for years, you know. And sometimes we get overwhelmed when we want to let that guard down, but they're afraid because that's all they know is getting into that shell. So the point of this show is to let you know this is a safe space. You know what I mean?
good morning,
Very
Tim.
safe space.
You know, and let me expound on that. A lot of times, the truth hurts because you feel embarrassed or you feel like you've done something wrong. And let's
Hmm.
keep this a buck. You can't be charged for what you don't know.
Absolutely.
You cannot be charged for what you don't know. We all go through things that, of course, we look at it like this. I went through that. That was a rough time in my life. It was a traumatic time in my life. But we're going to get through this, or I learned from it, and I'm no longer that person.
Hmm.
But we have people that go through a um, a transition, so to speak. Okay, so let me say, for example, let's say I was a thug in high school and I was knocking niggas out, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that was a time for me. The bully sometimes is hurting. The bully sometimes is like, okay, I don't. Thank you. I had to get through that because that looked crazy right now. But I'm glad that they interacted with each other because that looked nuts. Um, so at the end of the day, or let's take the female perspective. She could be promiscuous, right? And
Okay.
she can go through that time of promiscuity. Or the guy, he's in and out of jail and he's in and out of juvenile facilities and he can't get it together. All right.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, that was a time period. Now you went through that. But as we learn and we grow, you know, where we hold you accountable is if you keep going back to prison. Where we
Mm-hmm.
where we hold you accountable is if you keep having babies. Where we hold
Mm-hmm.
you accountable is if you keep having to go to the clinic. Where we hold you accountable is if you keep getting in toxic relationships. This is where people get defensive. And the whole world, as you saying, Tim, has got defensive because you can't tell people shit. The first time you tell somebody, hey, maybe you should get out of these toxic relationships, you don't know everything. I don't, but you're obviously going through because you're vomiting it on Facebook that
Mm-hmm.
through these things. You're constantly airing out that your problems to different people, and they're going to listen the first time. They're going to listen the first time. After that, it becomes exhausting because you can't even learn from you. Am I right?
That's a fact. And what they're trying to do is skip the hardest parts, but those are the parts that you need the most in the journey. You can't shy away from, danger. If you're trying to change yourself and remake yourself and grow, it's gonna be some of the hardest things you ever had to do. But there's a flip side to it too. You don't have to grow. You can stay content in just being the same, but then you got to alleviate yourself of all expectations of others. You can't expect nobody else to grow or be better. You just gotta sit in that isolation. And that's, to me, is where a lot of people get lost.
Right.
They don't want to have to strive for more, but they want to be able to challenge others to strive for more. Like, no, you can't have it two ways. You
Mm-hmm.
dig? You need to be projecting the type of person that you actually want to be. So for me, I only push others because I push myself twice as hard than I'm pushing you. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes, I'm able to take the emotion out of it. I'm able to take it out of like, oh, I'm being pushed in the back. Because sometimes you need a little push to get ahead. But if you look at it as they pushing you in the back, you ain't gonna want to get touched. You're gonna want to do everything on your own. You're gonna think that, oh well, I don't need to go that far ahead. So now you're afraid to go for your dreams just because you can't get over this hump. And that's what a lot of this trauma is doing. It's preventing us from doing what we want to do because the fear is too great. Is so much greater than that fight that we have. But
Mm-hmm.
imagine if you got 5 people fighting with you. Then you don't have to be as strong as today. I don't have to bring all my weapons and all everything I know to the table. I can trust and rely on my family. So this is the point we have to release. I just think everything we've been holding on to is catching up with us. And all that baggage and all that hurt and all that. Damn, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I wouldn't have dated them. I wish I wouldn't have put my money here. All that's catching up with us. You dig? And the
Thank you.
only way we can get through it is we got to release it all. We got to let it go.
But here's the thing, and I say this: we have gotten to a point where I think Walisha's trying to come in. Let me see. She's trying to come. Is she in?
The birth plug. Yes, yeah.
Sis,
You.
sis, let me get my earpiece together. Y'all not coming
Okay.
through.
No, we gotta be
Yeah,
careful. Sometimes the earpiece had you going in and out. So
Oh, you can hear me good now?
let's,
yeah,
let's
we can hear you.
Okay. I'm
okay.
I'm headed to you, but I wanted to go ahead and join in. My apologies for the tardiness.
All good. Hi.
Peace.
So joining into the conversation, we're talking about emotional addiction and people. It goes back to a certain meme. Let's talk about the certain meme. Some people don't want to be healed because it takes away from their attention. If they're healed, they won't get that attention and that sympathy anymore. Some people don't want resolution because they know that with that resolution comes accountability. And from that accountability, you can no longer get that crutch. You can no longer get that helping hand. And then the second part of this conversation, Wally, is that the whole world is too damn defensive. When you try to
Hmm.
tell them the solutions of certain things, or you try to warn them, a lot of times we use a scapegoat. Well, people got to learn. Yes, they do. But you know, if you see the road and the street sign that's pointing direction to hell, do you really need somebody to give you a guide and say, "Hey, you're going to hell"? You know? But hey, hey, check this out. But I love you. But if you want to go down that road, go ahead and go down the road. If I love you, I am going to damn sure try to keep you from going down that street sign that says hell. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but I'm just saying.
I get
I
what
think
you're saying with it.
Yeah.
I think that it's twofold because at one end, like people have gotten so accustomed to making hell look pretty. So
Yes.
if you've been faking the funk this whole entire time, and you're trying to influence me, encourage me to change my ways, but I can clearly see life looks great for you. Yeah, you may have hit a couple of bumps in the road, but it looked like you're doing pretty okay. And I think that growing up, I always kind of judge, well, I got time to change or I got time to fix it based on someone else's lifespan or where they were based on the person who was instructing me. Because it's like you're instructing me on what not to do, but yet still you never let me in to see you fucking up, to see what you
Hmm.
were doing wrong. I never got to see what that looked like. I only see the pretend side or the fixed side. So I'm less likely encouraged to fix my vices now. I want those because they make me feel good. They make me feel comfortable, whether it's pills, being in the. I mean, I've known people that was conditioned to being in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, fuck the medicine. I want to see a doctor. Like, it's people addicted to being cut up, and so and even once we get more comfortable, I feel like with exposing the real us, it's easier to tell somebody, okay, well, I did such and such. You seen me do such and such, and this is where such and such got me. So I ain't got no hell to personally put you in, but the hell on earth, the hellish opportunity have available to you on earth, I'm trying to prevent you from that. I think that it's more easier to accept if I can see what you're struggling, what you went through, versus you just telling me out the blue, oh, hey, I done that and been there, done that. I'm like, okay, really?
Yeah, I could see that. How I look at all of this is sometimes I think none of us are qualified to really give anybody advice. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people need to go to hell. A lot of people need to go sit in that jail cell. A lot of people need to go to the doctor. Even when it's something we disagree with, but we don't know their life. And people lie. People lie every day. People lie to themselves.
They
You know what
they
I mean? Like,
and listen, Tim, they're downright delusional.
yeah, man. I don't believe almost nothing people say. Like, I'm just a skeptic. You got
They,
to prove it to me and then I'll believe it. But I don't believe a lot people say. So it's hard. It's really hard to give people advice these days.
and,
Because everyone lives in their, like you said, they live in their own delusion.
and when I say delusional, it's like from a person who sees where they're going, you have this tug of war. Like, I want to tell you, but I know that you don't even want to listen. I know that you
Yeah,
don't, but you're delusional to think that you're right. And I just be like, okay, well, what do you need me for? You know what I'm saying at this point?
exactly,
But then,
exactly. But it's how you said it in the beginning. It's that attention. Attention has become like it has become value. You know what I mean? Like it's become value to a lot of people. And they'll do anything to get it. And that's why I realized like when you're healing, it's really just you're educating yourself, you're learning. I had to unlearn a lot of shit. I used to think as a kid, oh, if someone's doing something, that means they like it. And that was the biggest misconception that I learned growing up. Like, and that's far from the truth. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it has nothing to do with whether you like it or not. And to me, there lies the problem. And it's not because a world of good or bad, it's because your soul knows what you want. So the closer you get to that, it's going to feel good. You're going to have a certain sensation. Your soul knows what it doesn't want. So when it starts to reject things, it's going to be a certain sensation. And what we have the ability to do, what separates us from animals, is we can ignore that sensation. We can go outside of that and do whatever we want to do. And that has become the problem. You dig what I'm saying? Like people are just doing a lot of shit.
well, let's break this down because I listen. I don't speak from anybody else's perspective. I speak from my own. You know what I'm saying, and my own experiences. So I'm gonna take you back to 16-year-old Lane. 16-year-old Lane, he had his grandmother, he had his father from prison in his ear talking about, hey, strap it up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I need you to go ahead and do this. I know that you out here doing adult shit, So I need you to go ahead and use protection. I'm not hearing none of this, right? I'm not hearing absolutely none of it. And so for many years, I skate by, you know what I'm saying, without having children. And then bam, 21 happens, boom, I got kids. So basically, during this whole 4-year period or 5-year period, it's like, hey, you don't want to have kids this early. You want to live your life. You want to, what I'm saying, go to college, or you're already going to the military, but then there's life after the military. Listen, I've been down this road. I'm not hearing none of it. But knowing that they know how hard it is to raise a kid, and you're never really ready to have children, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a mentally ready that you can prepare yourself for child rearing. And when we between the ages of 17 and 21, you don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? All you know is the act of sex feels good, right? That's
And
all.
And
And
to me, that's why there's such a big disconnection right now with children and education and teaching children how to actually mature. And I'm not talking about like bill paying and having an apartment and car maturity. Like the things you're talking about, life skills. I feel like that's why, as Black people, sometimes we start things unprepared and we're so behind. Because the lessons that we are talking about now, you got to start learning at like 4, 5, 6. But we'll wait until we're 18 and say, oh, well, I'm ready to have a kid now. Let me start going to learn about it. You should have already been learning about this before this ever even became a thing that I had to worry about that you might be pregnant one day. I should have already been having these conversations with you.
So to finish, wait a minute, hold on, Alicia. So to finish my point, right? So once I have children and I see how hard it is, now I want to play the blame game. Nobody wants to kids. Nobody wants to do this for me. Nobody wants to help me. Nigga, 5 years, we told you it's hard. So I can't blame such and such for not wanting to keep my children. I can't blame such and such because I have to have 3 jobs to maintain my household. I can't blame society. No, they told me if you have sex, this can happen. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to hear shit. So at the end of the day, whose fault is it? But then, no, I want the attention. I want people to feel sorry for Lane. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got to work 3 jobs. No, you made that choice, bro. You even made the choice to be a good father. You made the choice to be in your kid's life. It's hard. It's no
Absolutely.
course. But it took me a while to.
We also responsibility.
What'd you say, Walisha?
Sorry. I said I think we also got to hold responsibility how we give out information. Just because it takes a penis and a vagina to conceive, don't mean still the steps of how conception happens. Like it's more information you know about the female body, about the male body to respect and not have children, but the patience and all of these things, teaching me how to cook, teaching me how to work with babies, teaching me how to be a parent or a better friend. All of these things take patience from the elders or the people who came before us.
Well, but I can honestly say that I had sex education classes. I knew that by doing this particular act, I could have a baby, but I didn't want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? You bypass, and this is what we're saying. People are bypassing responsibility for what feels good. And this is why we're in the turmoil that we're in today as society. They want to go extremely for what feels good or what's convenient, and therefore not understanding what's on the other side of your actions.
I think that's a double-edged sword, though.
But right, because at the end of the day, why should I not be doing what feels good?
Yeah.
So now, because society as a whole and my village, my personal village, has failed to help me grasp the importance of life and death to certain situations, I gamble. I take a risk because I am in a world that don't make me feel good. And there's some things that make me feel great. Sex is one of them. So now I'm supposed to take the one thing that's helping me hold on to life. It could be sex, it could be whatever, hospitals or doctors. And because my community, my village, and my elders, because you took it back to 15 or 16, these people that came before me have failed to really help me understand and grasp what they're telling me because they're instructing based on fear. Don't because X, Y, and Z. Well, now you injected your fears into my life. Now I'm carrying fear and your trauma with me. So every time I lay down and have sex, it's still enjoyable, but yeah, in the back of my mind, you kind of erase and steal my joy away because you didn't put your trauma and fear. So I still don't have a grasp because that's your situation, that's your life. That ain't my life.
And
So
that's how a lot of us, I feel like that's how a lot of us were raised, through instruction. And everyone doesn't learn through instruction. That's why the school system's failing. We all have different learning styles. But to me, I agree with you. It's not anyone else's fault but your own, but other people are responsible for it. And that's how they escape their accountability. They say, oh, it's not my fault, but you're still responsible for it. All these young boys out here, how they act, I'm responsible for it, because how I live my life will teach them how to live that way. It will show them as an example. So if I'm not being my best self, I'm responsible for these young men showing out and acting out. And I feel like my generation, I feel like yours too, we didn't have people that stepped up and said, yo, I'm accountable for this kid not knowing any better. Because like you said at the beginning, you can't punish me for what I don't know. And you telling me not to have kids, that don't mean I know not to have kids. That I
and,
just know you told me not to have them. That's all I know. But it didn't change anything about what I'm about to go do, unfortunately.
and let me tell you, a lot of times, and I will say this, the people that we saw navigating early pregnancy, or not even teen pregnancy, but young adult pregnancy, it looked like they were navigating and surviving. And that still was like, okay, it can't be that bad, right?
Hmm.
And so therefore, as Wally, going back to what Alicia said, not understanding uh the real way, not the real way, but the healthy way to raise a child, not
Yeah.
understanding parameters, you figure like, oh, I can do this. I can go get a couple food stamps, or I can, get
Yeah.
over. So it makes it palatable when you can see your homeboy or your homegirl navigating parenthood and says, okay, it's not that bad. They still buying the kids Jordans, or they still, keep
Right.
an apartment or a roof over their head. It's not that bad. But then when you see how hard it really is, I'm gonna go back to Adrian. Thank you so much for being on the check-in. Nobody told me fire was gonna burn me.
Right.
It looked
Right.
that. You know what I'm saying?
You'll learn real quick how fireworks playing with it.
It
You learn
looked
a lot.
it looked like it hurt. You know what I'm saying? Nobody told me that, that 12-foot swimming pool to just go jump in. And something told me, hey, my
Yeah.
instinct, don't go jump in that
That
12-foot.
look deep. Yeah, that look real deep.
Now, the same elements that I'm telling you about are the same elements that we need to survive. We need fire. We need water, right?
Right.
But there are danger elements to that instinctively, that the thing that God gave us instinctively said, hey, you might not want to do this. So we have to be careful, Walisha, when we say, why not do things that feel good? Because going back to what you both are saying, are you using these things to feel good as anesthesia? Drinking a 40 at 16 years old was cool, but it was my anesthesia for my insecurity. It was my anesthesia for my own insecurity. I wanted to look cool. I wanted to be cool. All my friends are drinking 40s. Let me drink a 40-ounce too. Let me get drunk too. But I
I'm,
didn't realize,
I'm gonna take
hey,
a leap out here and say that somebody that's drinking a 40 at whatever age, it doesn't even instantaneously feel good. It is, like you said, it's all of these other things. I think that somebody is consensually giving their body to have relations with someone, um, and experimenting. That is an excitement. This is the energetic feeling behind you. We're talking about energy, right? Talking about
Hmm.
right.
the energy that's behind it. That's that good feeling. I'm not for sure if you necessarily get the same thing when you're drinking, or if that's the after effect after
Hmm.
drinking. But I think I'm trying to paint a bigger picture to, um, that if we are wanting to encourage the youth to take better care of their body and be more, better stewards over who they lay down with and how soon they choose to lay down. I think that we need to, like Tim said, one, they should be learning about birth and babies way sooner than 18. Like there should be some more involvement. So, like, for instance, Tyreek is 23. He don't want children because he got 4 younger siblings that he had to help raise. part of the reason why he don't want children is because he's seen what I went through. He's seen the struggles of having to find a sitter, or having to birth these children. I mean, he was at all four of their births. He seen me give birth to all four of them in the front, in living room, kitchen, wherever I was. So not that he doesn't want children, right? Now the desire, now that he's 23, is starting to set in. Like, well, actually, I do want to be a father. I do want a family. I do want these things, but I think because I had him so involved with the beginning stages of life with his siblings, that he was like, if I am going to step out here and experiment and have some experience with my sexuality, I'm going to use protection because I'm not prepared at this moment to father children.
Well, let me jump in with Kay. Kay was on the check-in. I don't know if she's still in. Kay, thank you for your comment. Some people are content with their life instead of growing into their better self. They rather stay in that comfortable position that they are in instead of elevating. Sometimes the potential you see in someone they don't see in themselves, and that's where that emotional addiction comes into play. Like some people, like you said, they catch accountability early. Like that fire's hot. That fire's hot, and I don't want no parts
But
of it.
and I understand that saying, but that's not accountability. If you're only content with your life if you're not complaining about it. 98% of those people complain about their life. So to me, that's not being content. I understand what's being said, but that's in a perfect world. We got to think about reality. Most people, you can stand next to them on the train and feel they hate their life. They don't even got to say nothing to you. You can look at how they talk to their kids in public to see they probably hate their life. You can
Yeah.
look at their social media and see they probably hate their life. The problem is, again, they've allowed to pretend for so long that they were happy. They called new relationships happiness, getting an apartment happiness, getting a promotion at a job happiness. You called all these meaningless things happiness to seem happy to a bunch of unhappy people. You were
Or
trying to get validated from people who never actually were happy. You know what I
what?
mean? And that's this world we're living in. That's what I mean about the parents. This is why this conversation is a double-edged sword. I understand what you're saying about the fire because I agree with that. But then we got to remember there's welders, there's glass makers, there's people that play with fire for a living. And how are they able to do that? Because they're professionals, because they were taught the ins and out of this. So a lot of us weren't able to be taught how to be good parents because we didn't have good parents. We didn't have that example to teach us how to be the example. So a lot of us had to start from scratch. And that's where we're at right now. We're starting from scratch. And in maybe 3 generations, they'll look back and say, you know what? They did us a service.
What?
But as far as what we're happening now, we were sent out into the world without the knowledge. To me, that's irresponsible. We're all responsible for that. You know what I mean? Not just one person.
And it goes back to that emotional addiction that we were talking about. Sometimes people through that trauma, as maybe a bad example, but the word nigga, right?
Yeah.
That was such a negative connotation, but we took that painful word and made it loving and endearing. A lot of times people will take their trauma and do the same thing. Like, I can't escape this trauma. I don't know how to get out of this trauma. So I'm going to embrace the trauma, right? I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to normalize the trauma. So therefore, I know that, if I cry loud enough, somebody's going to come help me. Somebody's going to justify my actions. Somebody's going to justify what it is I'm doing, or just say, baby, it's not that bad. Sometimes you need somebody to tell you, like, yeah, you not that nigga, or you not that B. You think you are, but nothing in your life lines up to say that you are that B or you are that N word. You know what I'm saying? But going back to the delusion, they got so many people giving them pacifying answers and justifying their actions that nobody's really having a hard truth with these people and saying you really don't have it together. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's the catch 22 because I feel like they only have those people around to be their audience. They only have those people around because they give you attention. They have those people around because they laugh at your jokes. So that to me, that's karma. So you deserve everything that comes with this person you're choosing to be with. That's karma. You can't complain about something you're choosing constantly, over and over again. And that's where we're at. That's where I feel like society's at. They're running from that accountability that you picked that nigga. He's so bad. He's so this. He's so you picked him. Like how you picked him? Unpick him. Just select him. Cancel him. Like what? Why are you complaining about something you can change?
I
But
say
we lended an ear. We sat and listened. So now we have a bunch of entitled people that just feel like, oh, well, as soon as I complain, things need to get better. That ain't how life works. Unfortunately, you got to put the work into your life. And when you start putting that work in your life, it will encourage others to do it. But we've been giving up all of ourselves for free. We've been helping people for free, and they ain't even been doing the work. You know what I mean? In those times, we're putting an end to it. We're setting boundaries now.
Right. So therefore, when it comes to when somebody, I seen a meme the other day, and it said, now and let me give a disclaimer because I'm not a mom, and I'm not a woman, so not I cannot speak from that perspective. But I will say this: it was a very defensive meme. It said, "I'm tired of people saying, well, you chose your baby daddy." And it says we didn't expect them we didn't expect them to be who they were after a certain point in time. And I'm saying I beg to differ. I
Yeah,
beg when you vet somebody, you kind of, and if you really know before you lay down with that person or what have you. I know that we do have some irresponsible moments where we lay down with people and we didn't plan to do certain things or certain things happen. But when you've been with somebody for a while, you kind of pick up on their selfishness. You kind of pick up on
yeah,
how. So when we say that, like, well, I didn't know he would be like this, a bullshit. Yeah. Or I
yeah,
didn't involved in this or involved in that. A bullshit. You just chose to close your eyes. That going back to a man. I didn't believe she would be this toxic. A bullshit.
yeah. You know.
You were that toxic. You knew.
But that comes with a lot of people's pride too of thinking they can change somebody. I've
Right.
had so many people in my life think they could change me. It's laughable. And none of them has succeeded. Like, you're not going to make me do something I don't want to do, and you shouldn't be trying to encourage me to do things I don't want to do. See, these are the communications that we've been having had to us without realizing they're communicating with us. They're letting us know how they're going to treat us. And that's what I always tell people. When you start seeing the signs, they're showing you things to come. They're showing you what they feel is acceptable to give you. And that's not on them. That's not their fault. What you answer to is on you. That's what you're responsible for. Because you can tell them no. You know what I mean? And this was a meme I had to share. Like, but this is what I talk to people about in therapy. This is a common misconception that we were taught things one way, we have to unlearn them and relearn them. You dig? But
Right.
the meme says self-sabotage is also not asking for help, rejecting praise, isolating yourself when hurt, saying yes to everything, putting your needs on hold, procrastinating on important tasks, watching too much news, and trying to be perfect. All things that I hear people say in
That,
casual conversation. I hear them saying casual conversation like it's harmless.
you just
But
stepped on
these
some
aren't
toes.
harmless things. Like, you are hurting yourself doing these things on the back end. You may not see it up front, but in 10 days when you depressed and you sad, it's that buildup. It's payday now. You don't let all of this stuff build up. You don't let all these friends talk to you a certain way. That's why what I mean when I say get to your higher self. You don't settle for less. You don't allow no one to talk to you less than the level that you see yourself on. You don't allow people to treat you like a second option. You don't go to places you're not invited in. You don't spend time learning things that can't help you. You
Right.
don't listen to disrespect. You dig what I'm saying? That's your highest self. It's not a bunch of money. It's not smiling all the time. It's not having the love of your life. It's, do you like yourself? Are
Yeah.
you happy with your own production? Do you think you're a good person? If heaven was real, do you think you would be getting in? Like, this is what's important. And how often do we talk about this as a society? Rarely to never. That's the problem. That's what's showing me what people are focused on. It's the dream, it's the illusion, it's the matrix. It's this dream that they've been sold, and that dream is more important than reality because the dream's never going to happen. They know in the back of their mind this is never going to happen, but it's scary going after something you want because there's a chance you might not get it. It's easy going for something you never going to get because you know how to deal with that rejection. You live in that rejection. But imagine always getting your way. Things always working out for Lane until they don't.
Right.
So now the only thing that matters to me about Lane is how you react to that. It doesn't matter that things always went right or now they're going wrong. I want to
Right.
see how Lane's going to react to that. You dig? And when people start holding themselves to that type of value, I feel like their lives will start to change.
And people don't even realize that they're going in cycles. You know what I'm saying? I love
Mm-hmm.
by John McReynolds that says, I'm not going through cycles, but you have to identify the cycle because basically yourself, that's where it's dangerous, because it's like, oh, I keep going through this, but I keep pointing the fingers at everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep pointing the fingers at, oh, they just don't like me, or, you know, they're just trying to keep me from being successful, or they hating on me and stuff like that. No, you're going through a cycle, and you keep repeating that cycle until you learn from that particular cycle. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe things aren't going the way that I need them to go, is because of the way I'm approaching each and every single situation the same way. And like you said, when you develop that victimized mentality, anything that you know, concentrate on, it's going to materialize real, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna trigger you.
So when you're looking for the worst in people, or when you're not, as you said, healed, and you are moving in this paranoia state of mind, or you're moving in this victimized state of mind, what you want, you're gonna get. You know?
Yeah. And what you need, to me, is brutal honesty. And a lot of people think the truth and honesty are the same thing. You know what I mean? And to me, they're not. And what I want is honesty. You dig? I live in the truth, but a truth could be, to Lane, I drove your car and crashed your car. A truth could be, I come to you like, yo, Lane, you need to get a new car. You know what I mean? I ain't lying. But the honesty would be, yo, Lane, I crashed your car.
Yeah.
And then we talk about, okay, we need to get a new one. You dig what I'm saying? So a lot of people are rejecting that honesty. And the truth is, like, let's just call a spade a spade. 95% of the internet, like, y'all not doing enough for nobody to hate on you. Like, what are you doing that somebody would hate on you? Your job? Your shoes? Like, what are we hating on? You ain't doing enough. You don't have haters. So that would clear that delusion, just that honesty. And that's why I surround myself with people who are honest with me. They don't always like me. I don't always like them. They ain't always got me the best gifts. They don't always say the right things, but they're honest with me. You know what I mean? And that's more important to me than anything.
And let me drop another caveat. The people that may identify themselves as hating you aren't worth the salt to even consider.
Exactly.
So why would you even consider the people that are antagonizing you? If they can't really truly stop, again, it goes back to that cycle. You need that stumbling block to say, I can't get over. You're afraid of success. You're afraid of getting over that hump, because now you have no excuse. So even call haters that you have, who are they?
Right.
Now when you say your supervisor is a hater, that's a problem, because they stop in the bag.
Yeah. But it shows you from how people talk where they are. It shows you where they come from. It shows you how they think. And when you use phrases like that, it shows me you're not used to winning, because the winners don't worry about the reward. That's not what you're winning for. That's not what you need to work for. What you need to work for is getting through the ridicule. Because when you're a winner, they're going to critique how you practice, how you sleep, how you eat, who you date, how you talk. They're going to critique every single thing you do. And then that's going to scare you. But again, you got to have that higher knowledge of understanding. This comes with the territory. This is the price of admission. I asked for this. I listen to that when Nipsey says that all the time. Like, I can't complain about where I am. I asked for this. Even when it's hard, even when I'm broke, even when I'm hungry, I asked for this.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I wanted to say that.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I want our studio audience, Walisha's going to, jump in here, but she's using my microphone. So please let us know if she can hear you. She's live in the studio right now.
Hey.
But go ahead and talk, Walisha, and see if the people can hear you. Just comment if you can hear her well.
Can y'all hear me? Holla if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you good.
That's dope. Okay, so man, I got so much to say. And I don't even know where to start. I think the front end of things, I'm thankful for the men in my life that are patient with me, because sometimes it is straight up no chaser. Oh shoot, they absolutely can hear me. So sometimes I do gotta call a spade a spade. And I was the person put here on the earth to do this. So I can't run away from who I was created to be, nor can I run from the things that I see and witness when it comes to the Black community. I can no longer turn the other cheek. And I've lost a lot of friends because I had to be truthful and honest. And at the same time, trying to package things nicely, trying to care about people's feelings and that and the other. But I'm thankful for owning my shit because it's helped me be a better person. Not being a perfect person, but it's helped me be a better person to own my stuff. And then in return, it makes it clearer to see other things. I think that when you talk about meeting people or going through the same thing over and over again, I was in that cycle. So I was like, hold on, it's me. It's not them. Like, it's a billion, 7 billion people here, 8 billion on this planet. It's me that got the problem. I'm the one that's
Mm-hmm.
not understanding my worth. I'm the one that's not understanding something when it comes to the journey of my life. And the quicker that I can get me together and understand me, then yeah, I do want to save. I did want to save these men. I did want to love them enough to their highest potential. I felt like that was my duty. It was my job. But once I seen like they didn't want it for themselves, it was easier to exit stage left.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this because the topic is emotional addiction. There's a little feedback. I don't know if it's the,
Yeah.
the the topic is emotional addiction. So I've been around a crack addict, a cocaine addict, and a heroin addict, right? And they know what they're doing. It may be wrong because it's affecting the people around them. It's affecting their health. It's affecting themselves. It's affecting a lot of things that are coming in their life. But it still feels, let's use two key words, it still feels good. And it still feels convenient because
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this is my escape. When things come to, I know it's a go-to. It's what like we call a defense mechanism. It's just something that kicks right in. You know what I'm saying? It's like as soon as these things build up, it kicks right in, right? So therefore, I know that this is bad. I know a lot of people that say, and this is not towards you, Wally, but I know a lot of people like, I know what I'm doing is destructive, but I can't help it. I can't,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get out of this. I know that I probably shouldn't have talked to this person a certain way, but I can't help it. This is a part of who I am. But until you realize that either how you're living your life or how you're communicating or the people that you're choosing, right, to be in your life is destructive to you and is prohibiting you from going to the next level, you're going to stay in that same cycle. You're going to stay in that cycle of addiction. The same way a drug addict stays in that cycle of addiction. You
Yeah.
know all these things are problematic. But however, when that pressure of life, you don't resist it. That thing kicks right in, and now you're
Mm-hmm. And then you're doing back to what you were programmed to do.
staying
There's
crack.
only two trains of thought. Either you're living through a program or you're living instinctually. You're actually making the choices, based on your discernment. But the issue is and this is why I hold every generation accountable, responsible. They may not be at fault, but all of this is a handed down responsibility. We were taught these things. This is why religion is so powerful. This is why it stuck to people so much. Because when they had nothing else, they could fall back on religion. And what are you taught in religion? Get into heaven. So you got a person who's on the street and they're looking at this world as hell. The only heaven they have is that crack. And if you know people that smoke crack, they tell you it's like going to heaven. It's like smoking with God. They literally say things like that.
Yeah,
So if you constantly, their real life is hell, the only heaven they know is the pipe.
right.
They were taught that. That doesn't come from nowhere. That's a programming.
Right. And so I used to tell my clients that were in abusive relationships, kind of helping them understand why they even chose to stay. What was there that made them stay? We're talking about the emotions and learning about the 5 love languages. And I think there is someone that I connected with that's actually writing 5 love languages that's associated with the Black community, because our love languages are different. We grew up different. We have different things that are embedded in us. So we can go by that list of 5 love languages, but we still have a different set. So I actually met a person that's creating a book on that. But I told my clients this, that the reason why you went back to that man that dotted your eye, that had you wearing glasses, that did whatever to you, is because there is still something in your makeup that equals love that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
higher than the punch in the face. So he could have brought you flowers. He could have paid the rent. He could have sexed you down. He could have spoken all these words that are affirming you and his love for you. And something clicked in the body, just like with drugs, just like with these other things and vices that we cling to. Something clicked in the body that said, oh, wait, he really does love me.
Mm-hmm.
I was so, and this was a long time ago, but I was so far gone. I remember saying to self, wow, he wanted to kill me. That he loved me that much. He wanted to take my life. That is mad love.
Mm-hmm.
What I told myself to still give this person respect and honor and love was that he wanted to kill me. That's the ultimate love.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
To stay. And I got out of that relationship not too long after that, but I can still remember having the conversation with self like, dude loved you so much he was willing to take your life, girl. You ain't nobody out there loving you like that. Like,
that's wow.
And I remember him saying, like, if you ain't gonna be with me, and I've heard this before, you ain't gonna be with nobody.
Right. That's and here let's clarify a word that we really haven't dug deep into. Manipulation, right? Let's dig into that word, manipulation. To manipulate is to just basically try to conform it into something to make it fit, right? We have to conform. We have to make it, because basically it may go against, you know what I'm saying, the reality of things. So therefore, this person is not doing what I need them to do. I gotta say something. I gotta do something to make it fit. You know what I'm saying? So I can get them to do what I need them to do. So we are manipulators
Absolutely.
in some way, shape, or form or another, because that's the power of influence, right? The power of influence is I gotta manipulate these people. How do we draw people in to hear us? We all want to be seen and heard in some way, shape, or form. So what you have to understand is, am I being guided into a way that's healthy for me? Mm-hmm. Am I being sucked into somebody's power? There's mental power to do exactly, and they don't give two shits about me. You know what I'm saying? About how I feel or anything like that. This is where we have to start, asking, as you said, the hard questions, Tim. This is when you do the self-evaluation, and then you come together and do your joint evaluation when it comes to these relationships. First of all, you have to know what you want as a person. This is what I want like Nipsey Hussle, since we quote Nipsey looked in the camera and told the gangsters, he was like, man, you can keep doing what you're doing if that's what you want. If that's what you want, whatever you putting out in this universe, that's going to come back to you. So you can keep doing that if that's what you want. But if you want something different, man, change your energy, man. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of the addicts don't want to do. Right. It's too painful to change this energy because it's too familiar. Or I want to change, but every time, as we said, as the addict, every time I get that itch, that addiction kicks back in, and I don't know how to break that.
And that's where the healing needs to come in, because to me, that thing that we're discussing, that thing that seems so common in addicts, to me, isn't even just an addict thing. I think a lot of people do it. And that's what's been sticking us in the mud that we're being in. Like, people aren't living in that reality, just living in that pure honesty about why you're doing what you're doing, why you're going back, why you're not moving on. You know what I mean? And that, to me, therein lies the issue. That's what you need to heal from. You can't fix the person you're dating. You have to change you, and then that'll change the type of person you attract. But a lot of times we're distracting ourselves like, oh, I'm just not going to date a nigga that hits me. That's not the problem. The problem is that at one point in time, you thought yourself worthy of that. You thought that was your value. You didn't think you deserved someone that didn't hit you. All of this is about, to me, how we see ourselves. That's what we need to change. It's not the choices we make. We make these choices because of how we feel about ourselves, because of how our mindset is set up. So when we get to this point of complaining about things we participate in, that's your issue. You're complaining about someone manipulating you, but you're manipulating them. You're online saying you hate liars, but you lie every damn day. Like, you can't have it two ways. Right. You can't have it two ways.
This is true. I think that's the point that we got to get to of knowing self first, because I think in both situations that I was in all three abusive relationships, the last one was different because I did remember having flashbacks of this person And I had a friend tell me, like, oh, they do such and such. He liable to kill you in your sleep. I had an actual friend tell me that. And I was like, no, homeboy's cool. He is crazy. I don't think he crazy like that, though. And I think that the first couple of times I had experienced disputes in a way of where our energy just got so high to where we both wanted to put our hands on one another. I think it was all about not knowing me, and I invested so much into these people and to the fairy tale of how we could possibly join and become one that I left me out. And so once me started getting attacked, it was slow to pick up. Like, okay, wait a minute. They didn't put hands on you. They didn't call you out their name. They didn't lie. They didn't cheat. Now it's a train wreck. But I think I was slow to understand what was happening to me because the investment was all good, right? It was it was all things hoped for. It was none of the arguments. It was none of these. It really, both situations came out the blue. Not necessarily there wasn't no signs, but it wasn't signs directed to that it would end in domestic violence, more so that I was living in a lifestyle that if that happened, I knew how to handle myself, type of thing. That makes sense.
Yeah,
And
100%. Go ahead, Lane.
I want to jump in real quick because, and before I do, I always like to give the disclaimer. But me and Tim, we always flip that side of the coin. We always have to flip it, right? Now, I was listening to a podcast, and he was breaking down because he wants Black men to stop being so emotional and reactive. You know what I'm saying? Because let's state a fact. Columbus, Ohio, is at its 20th domestic homicide this week. 20th domestic homicide.
Is it all men and women?
From what I understand, it's men killing women at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And in this last incident, the man waited for the woman to the man waited for the woman to come home and he shot her, right?
Set her up too. They began inviting her to come.
Set her up. So now going back to my podcast and where we're teaching men how to be less emotional and react completely different. There is that side to where, man, I didn't feel he loves me unless he reacts in a certain way. Yeah. So what we don't understand is that women can also be provocative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, you know what I'm saying, when you come into an argument or something like that, and she'll go for that jugular to see how you're going to react and how you're going to do a certain thing. Now, again, let me go back to my disclaimer. Domestic violence is not justified whatsoever, right? But then you have to understand the psyche. He said, man, the more I argue with my woman, he said, it dawned on me like, this chick wants me to react violently. She really wants me to put my hands on her. Like, and then once he realized that, he said, yeah, I got to get away from her because she wants to put me in a bad predicament, that predicament of manipulation where I can control you now, Negro.
Yep.
I can put you in jail. I can get you beat up. I can now I have the power. So when he seen that she was going in these dark places and trying to provoke him to react, he then came to, but he said, this realization didn't come for years. Mm-hmm. It was a bunch of back and forth and a bunch of arguing. And then one day he was like, wow, she really wants me to put my hands on her. And no, she did not. Let's go there. No, she really did not.
She just wanted to see that he was affected by whatever was affecting her.
Exactly. So therefore, in that whole toxic thing, she didn't realize what she was doing, and he didn't realize what was being done to him, or he didn't realize that every time he reacted, it was forming that cycle.
But to me, is that not the irony of the world we live in? Men don't have a voice. We've never had a voice. We can't speak emotionally. We tell our feelings. We're sassy. But then when we start using our hands, we have a problem too. Like, there's no win. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality for Black men. We can't talk about it. We can't fight our way through it. Like, what can we do?
And this is one of the, I'm thankful for this sister that I met in Bianca in Indianapolis. She's over an organization that slips my mind, but she was the first person that I heard say, Black men have been the most unprotected since 16 whatever here in this country. Right. and she's looking to actually thank you. She's looking to actually change all of that, and me as well. But I understand, like, the first memory that I have of figuring out the anger thing was initiation from my father. My father had said for about my ex-husband, he said, well, I ain't never seen him upset, and that worries me that I never seen him upset, because I'm wondering, if he gets upset, how upset does he get?
Wow.
So almost like it was an encourage, like a challenge to me. Well, let me see him. You're right. I ain't never seen him upset. I need to see how upset he get. That way I need to know how crazy he can get and be able to protect my, it was crazy thought, but yes, and still in 2006, when I was 2005, we started courting and dating. And I remember having this thought, like, man, I've been knowing you for a couple of years and I've never seen you upset. And my daddy said, he don't know if he trusts you because he ain't never seen you upset. So I don't know if I should trust you because I ain't never seen you upset. So I remember our first argument. I just laughed in this dude's face because I was like, listen, arguing with me is not where you want to go, because you don't argue. And I'm just gonna laugh at you because nothing makes sense that you're saying, because you're not a debater. You don't argue. And I didn't realize that then that was just something that he didn't desire to do. I kind of almost pushed it out of him. I wanted to see. And so I can remember throughout the years of our marriage, when he would try to argue, I'm like, you don't even argue. Why are you getting loud with me? This is not even you. And so I would laugh, which would in result cause him to get defensive. Right. Because I'm laughing at a characteristic that's not even a part of you. Yeah, I'm a debater. I don't mind debating. I don't mind having conversations. But in terms of arguing a point to somebody where it's taken and stealing from my energy, I no longer desire to do that. Right. I don't want to provoke people to put hands on me or someone else. That's not the goal. The goal is to have dialogues that are going to provoke change or understanding and bring out knowledge. But
so not to be a victim blamer,
because
but
I want to add to what you said too, because what you said pointed out something.
You were provoking the situation.
Oh, for sure. No, I said that. Yeah, no, I'm 100%. Yeah,
but here's where the emotional addiction we're talking about. A lot of women do not take ownership of that. Basically, they only want to point the finger of the person who looks crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
And instead of taking that ownership, it's like, man, I got him to that point.
Yeah.
I pushed a little too hard in this direction or that direction, because 9 times out of 10, I won't say, I don't know that true ratio, so I won't say 9 times out of 10. But for the majority of what I've seen, men will try to de-escalate when it comes to female and male interaction. They'll try to de-escalate, like, okay, just chill out, please. You don't tell me to shut up. No, I didn't tell you to shut up.
Everybody had the last word.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell you that.
You call me a bitch. Yeah, but you can call you a bitch 5 other days, but today you can't.
Exactly. So therefore, it's that we're today. I'm going to get this frustration out. Again, going back to this need inside of us to say, oh, I got to get this out. I got to get the last word, or I got to make sure I feel like I won. So therefore, we're already going down this toxic road. We're going down this cycle, but here's what happens is that I'm glad she said it. I'm glad it came from a Black woman that said, I provoked that. And it's not a I'm right versus you is wrong. It's how can we stop this cycle?
Right.
It's not.
But that's the thing. Like, sometimes the best medicine is prevention. You know what I mean? It's preventive behaviors, and that's why I love Walisha, because she can be honest about these things. And that's one of the things she described is what's plaguing Black men. Like, that's one of our biggest oppositions. And it's because, to me, from what I heard from him, my perspective is it wasn't about the arguing. It's like he gave you what you wanted. You wanted to argue. You wanted to hear him get upset. He got upset. And now he's still wrong. You know what I mean? And for men, that's how it is for us. But the reason I tell women don't push men to those points, because you're going to find a good man out there. He either won't react or he might just do that once. But the issue is there's more men out there to now this is the energy. This is the tone. Oh, you want me to hit you and I can hit you? I'm going to hit you whenever I want now. See, you don't get to control somebody's reaction. That's why I don't like when people react. I don't push them to react, because you may react like this every day now. I don't get to set the parameters around your response to what I do. And a lot of men, we feel like we're at the mercy of that, because even if I yell at a woman in public, I look like the aggressor. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to look like I have an issue with her. I need to calm down. Right. So as a black man, now what we're learning about our worth is I need to be around someone who doesn't provoke me, someone who puts the energy, because it's like women choose us, we chose you too. It's a two-way street. No one person is responsible for a relationship. Both people decided to be there, so we both have to hold ourselves accountable. My best breakups have been mutual. We both sat down like, look, this makes no sense for both of us. Like, let's stop pretending. Like, we might as well just go do what we want to do. Because it seems like we're living our grandparents' relationship or our parents' relationship. But who are we? You know what I mean? And if one person in y'all's dynamic doesn't know who they are, we don't know who we are. There is no we. You feel me? There is no we.
I just want people, I mean, and even myself, to own your shit. We're not all going. I'll say this. It's safe to say that in a world full of 8 billion people, we're not all going to be millionaires. We're not all going to have that house on the lake. We're not all going to have, you know what I'm saying, travel all the way around the world. Like Wale is doing it right now. We're not all. But at the same time, live in your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Live there and say, okay, how can I make it better? I mean, because I love the word persistence, because it's that hit on the rock every single day that's going to get that rock to break. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to break the rock in one day, but each nick at that rock is going to provide progress. So therefore, when you get in that argument or when you get in that dark place, you can think your way out of that and say, okay, how did I get here? And let me first point here. Let me first look at me. Don't, oh, this person shaded me, or this person, this, that, and the other. Now you going on a tailspin right now, because until it comes back to you, because first of all, people don't even realize I allowed this. I seen it. And this is where the delusion takes place. You can't tell me, let's not even get off on relationships, your friendships. You can't tell me that you didn't see this from your and friendships is the most, because they confide in you the most. They feel the safest place the most to confide in you. So when you hear such and such running all this bullshit to you about so and so, you know that they're doing the same thing to you. You know that
exactly. Exactly. And there's a lot of people out here trying to bullshit themselves. And that essentially is what, what I'm hearing you're saying. Like, you can't bullshit yourself. And at the end of the day, to me, there should only be those two trains of thought. This is what, to me, is my higher frequency. I assume I allowed it, or I assume I shouldn't be doing it because I couldn't read that they were fucking me over, or that they were stealing from me, or that she was a bad partner. So that means, instead of me focusing on her being a bad partner, I'm not even ready to be in a relationship with anybody. I can't even see when somebody's snaking me. I can't even see that she got 3 dudes on the side. I'm not ready for this. So it's always going to circle back to us if we wanted to. But that now feeds the other side. That's duality. You can avoid it as much as you want if you don't want to deal with it. And we get stuck with a lot of people who, like we said in the beginning of the show, they have all this good potential. And this is what I've been speaking to everybody around me this year. Like, next year, and what we're transitioning to next is, we don't live on potential no more. You are who you're trying to be. You are where you're going. We're not looking for the potential in people. We're not accepting potential as down payment. Like, you are what you're trying to do. You only work with people who show up for work. You work with people who bring the ideas. You love on people who love on you back. That has to be the standard. That is your highest self. Assume you're always wrong, you dig, and know that you're prepared to change it. That's the only thing people are tripped up about. What am I about to do next? And, oh, what am I going to do if this person is not being loyal to me? And I don't know. Figure it out.
I'm gonna let you go. I want to say something about.
I'm only going to be real quick, and I want you to go. Loyalty has its expiration. Grace has its expiration. So even when you do see that person is not perfect, we're not saying that you're going to choose perfect people. We know this, but loyalty has its expiration, and grace has its expiration. I'm going to give you grace, and then I want to. Once I give you grace, now I want to check your communication skills. I want to know if you're listening to me. I want to know if you have my best interest at heart, or we can come to a compromise. The point of grace, I hear manipulation. Look at my face. At the point of communication, you see manipulation, go.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get out of there. At that point, because that person don't give a damn about you. They only want what they want, and that's it. So if you're doing something that's troubling me and I can't communicate with you, or it's a defense mechanism, get out of there.
And so I'm gonna say I posted on Facebook the other day about the last 45 days I've seen 4 domestic violence situations. Like I was in the middle of one at the fair where I just happened to stop. I was getting ready to take a picture of Spider-Man, and my son followed me, and I was like, I told you to stand in line. So I'm mommying, and I'm in the middle of a woman and a man, black couple, and they're all black couples that I've witnessed, where she's saying, "Oh, he hit me 3 times in the stomach." It's going on and off, and I'm like, "Yo, pause for a second, because we're surrounded by white people, and there's cops everywhere because we're at the fair."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, pause for a second, because he's holding a child, and there's 2 little children that's connected to him. He's holding one, and you're pregnant with one.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, who did whatever happened, at the end of the day, it's still a moment to take a breath, pause. Mm-hmm. She would not shut up. And I'm working on the series called Shut the Fuck Up. Y'all stay tuned for that. Thank you. What I'm saying is the women, right? Us women, we have that power. All of us got power in the tongue, but we got this wit that's inside of us that's rooted deep from our womb. So when we speak, our words are a little more agitating at times because of our power. And if you don't shut the fuck up, you are going to cause certain things to happen if you don't take a moment for yourself to just to pause. So I was dropping off, actually a classmate left school the other day, dropped her off, and as I'm leaving, going around the corner, I see a guy and a woman. He's walking away from her, and she's pointing, saying this, and my spirit had me nodded, dude, almost to say, don't do what you're thinking about doing. A precursor to what I witnessed after, not even 60 seconds after I'm passing. So I'm going slow because I feel something happening, and I'm on the phone, like I just got a call. So the person on the phone said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I don't know. I'm okay because I'm in my car, but I'm seeing something that's not okay." So she slapping him up all side the head. He's walking away from the situation. She's calling them liars. You didn't sit together. He's walking away. But that last slap, I felt it. I knew the brother was going to turn around and sock it to her.
So I will say this. We always talk about the women getting abused. Yeah. But I'm going to put that at his accountability too. So let me say this.
Yeah.
She tested that man. He failed a lot of times, right? She tested him, like, let me see how far. Oh, I can get away with this. Wow. All right, let me go further. Same like these you said with the man. Oh, I can get away with this. Oh, he ain't gonna leave me. Oh, let me take this a little bit further. He let that thing get to a point where she felt completely comfortable, because people know who to try and who not to try.
Right.
People really know who to try and who not to try. So therefore, accountability on his part. Why didn't you leave?
Yeah, and I think run. Why didn't he run? I guess I did see him walking away. I did. It was obviously about a person, but we were talking about that loyalty expires, and I think we need to get to a point where we don't own nobody. You don't even own yourself. You understand? Half the time when you lying or when you can't be equal to the person that you look in the mirror at, like you don't own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You can go buy a car today, you don't own it. Go buy a house, you don't own it. Go buy a piece of land, you still don't own that shit.
Right.
Because we're still going to be here. Your ownership stops. So we're in lives when we're talking about emotions and people and their personal emotions, what affects them. And if you don't own people, so we have to get to a healthier space where trusting within ourselves, because people are going to be people. They're going to evolve into a better person or the worst version of themselves. And you got to be prepared to be the best version of you in the situation. And sometimes we find ourselves, like, again, I think it's with the control, because I've been done wrong after getting this message to myself. But it's been easier to let those people go. Like, oh, okay, well, you on that foot.
Right. So let me ask you this. Answer honestly.
I'm going to answer honestly.
Have you ever looked at a failed relationship and said it was my fault as a woman?
Oh, for sure.
You've done that. How long did it take you to come to that conclusion, though? Honestly.
I mean, it was almost simultaneously because I had already, I already, like, I'm desiring something to be here because the person I value the person is a good dude.
Okay.
And I'm wishing for the best for us. I'm hoping for the best. I'm planning my life with this person.
So in this relationship right now, if there is a layer of disagreement, how often do you look at yourself first before you point or say you've wronged me in this particular area?
I mean, it was just open dialogue, so everything was happening at face value. Like everything was happening at the time. It wasn't like the person that I'm thinking of is not.
Oh, he's not a candidate. He's not a candidate. Oh, he's gone. Okay, I'm thinking this is a person that's here now. Okay, he's not here. Damn.
No, but I've learned some valuable things, right? And one of the things that I take and hold into that next situationship or great situation is that you don't have to have debates and argue with your mate. Oh, I'm put that on the shirt.
You don't have to have
argument and debate with your mate because
right.
At the end of the day, we're building bigger than ourselves.
Right.
Right. So that does take some hard conversation dialogues, but at the end of the day, you're not the enemy.
Right.
Never do I want you to be in an enemy spot. So if something offends me or affects me, I need you to know now. Right. I'm not waiting 2 months later. I'm not waiting a whole year later. I find that soft, vulnerable spot and say, hey, you stepped on my foot 5 times earlier and I laughed about it, but I really don't like that shit. So please don't do that again.
Yeah. So let's talk. I seen a post today. I think she already knows. I've seen it. It said there's too many unhealed people trying to be healers. And this is going to go directly towards Judge Ebony, because we got to get to this topic really quick here. This has to go to Judge Ebony K. Williams, who has got the world, or who have got Black women in an uproar right now. And I get where our sisters are coming from, right? Because I truly feel like whatever the mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. So there are no limitations, but except the ones that you put on yourself, okay? So when she was breaking down hard facts about young women need to simultaneously seek out marriage as well as that degree, the tone, and I can't express this enough. The tone and how you come across is going to be the determining factor of how your message is received, right? And you could even tell in disposition, it was a wag your finger at that. Now, we understand that sometimes truth is the hardest medicine to swallow. Truth is the hardest pill to swallow. But sometimes you do have to put sugar on that spoon. Sometimes you do have to put honey on that spoon. And the words that were coming out of her mouth were so poignant and just so hard that it really put our African American sisters on the defensive. Because I wish I could play the clip. She was saying that if you have that clip, definitely if you have it.
I loved every second of what she said.
Okay, I want you, Kim, I want you to go in, but I'm the objective. You know, when we get to this round, I have to be the objective. So you ready?
Yeah, but we've talked about this so many times on this show, and like and I've been knew that it's gonna take a woman to get through the women on this type of topic, but it's hard for us to feel bad. Like women getting jobs and degrees, men never asked for that. I never said I was attracted to a woman because she had a degree. Like that was never nothing that men were chased. Like when have we ever chased women in college? Like that was something women wanted to do. So y'all decided to go work, go to school. Okay, you have to accept what comes with it. A lot of those people don't have families. They're not there for their family. You wanted to be CEO of a company. You got to run the company. Well, I can't have sympathy for you for going a path you chose to go, and now there's hardships on that path. This was the path you wanted.
The Row Pro, because I can put you in the Bluetooth. If you can tap into Bluetooth, I can put it in the. All you gotta do is go to your Bluetooth settings and go to Row Pro, and then I can play it from here. If you could tap in. Okay. But while she's getting the sound bite ready, because we definitely want to hear this again. There are truths that, and shout out to DJ Marlon McFly, and I'll be transparent. I'll use this moment to be transparent before we get the sound bite. I had borrowed speakers from Marlon McFly for about the 5th time. Right? I not borrowed, but I paid for them. I rented them. And he hits me one day. He says, "Hey man, I don't mind taking your money. But let me remind you of who you are. Okay. Let me remind you of who you are. Lane Love, the person I listened to on the radio from 2003 to 2010. You are Lane Love, who was in and out the clubs and on the club scene doing your damn thing. You are Lane Love, the banker that was, driving your cars to keep keep up with the year. You know what I'm saying? Your cars was, you know what I'm saying? If you had it was 2003, you had a 2003. If it was 2004, you had a 2004. This is the man that I know. This is the man that I know, and not so much the materialistic things, but listen, I get it. I get it that you made these transitions and stuff like that to do this, but I want you to get back to where you were. You know what I'm saying? Because not only are you in this predicament right now, but I see mentally where you are. And this is just some from the outside looking in. This is your brother saying, I want you to get back to where the person I know you are. You know what I'm saying? And that was a hard conversation. Another hard conversation was with my girl. She was like, one day, she had just hit me in my ear like, dang, why are you coming at me like this? And it was like, because I know who you have the potential to be. I know who you are. You let certain people in certain circumstances put you in this shell and in this hole. And this is not who you are. I know who you are. I've seen the pictures. I've seen, what I'm saying? I went through your face. I know who you are. But I need you to be that and better, because once you start letting people get into your head and you let society get in your head and you let these doors continue to stay closed, then we have a problem. Because again, now you're addicted to the emotional cycle that you're in. Now you don't want to break free from that emotional cycle. And that's going to be a problem for me. Bam, took that medicine. It was hard as hell. I'm going to get both of them hand claps.
Yeah.
Because it was hard. But I didn't tell them both. No, I did fight a little bit with my girl, but but it was still like, I didn't feel like, man, F y'all, man. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. It took a situation to be like, you know what? You right. Let me get on my shit. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. What y'all said was hard, and the tone of how you said it wasn't the most friendliest, but it was what I needed. And that's why I need people to get to a point like, the tone is not always going to be palatable. It's not always going to be there. So going back to, can you are we up?
I can't get it to roll.
Okay, we can go ahead. We can go ahead. Let's see if you can hear it, Tim. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Hold on and get my sound.
Lead and advocate for young women.
I'm gonna start it over just for a second. Can you hear it?
Yeah, turn it all the way up if you can.
Unequivocally believe and advocate for young Black women to adopt this MRS degree mentality. Yeah, I said it. Now, it bucks the traditional teachings of us avoiding boys until we are so-called established. But what no one tells us as young Black women matriculating on America's college campuses is that for these 4 years, or maybe 7 or 8, depending on whether or not you pursue graduate or professional studies, well, this will be the last time that you will be in such a concentrated space with this many presumably available men of projected equal educational and financial positioning. And if you desire to marry a Black man, as the vast majority of Black women do, this is even more so the case. And this is exactly where this whole idea starts to get really complicated, right? See, culturally, our society has shifted a bit from stigmatizing men who choose to be forever bachelors. These middle-aged single men are no longer punished by way of being kept out of prestigious companies or leadership roles. I mean, we literally have a 63-year-old, single, never been married, heterosexual Black man as the mayor of New York City right now. And there's another one just like
Start.
successful and educated would not be greatly incentivized to up and put a ring on any woman's finger by the time he walks across a college graduation stage. The reality that needs to be said out loud is that as Black men age, their desirability increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding. The exact opposite is true for Black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger Black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. Because the
key point.
We can stop
right there. We can stop right there. Because I want the key words to say, if they choose. And if you listen to the Breakfast Club this morning, and Tim, I want you to go. If you listen to the Breakfast Club this morning, they heard everything else but if you choose. We're not saying every woman wants to get married, but even the one that was debating what Judge Ebony K. Williams said she had the desire to be somebody's wife. So even in this delusional defensive response of women all over the world, all in her comments, because trust me, I went to them comments. And I heard your responses on the Breakfast Club this morning. Check this out. Deep down, most women want to be a missus. Okay? So you can lie, as Tim said, you can lie to yourself. You can lie and be delusional. But for the most part, even the woman that was debating, that was in the hot seat with Judge Ebony K. Williams, desired to be a missus. Okay?
Yeah.
All she was doing was providing statistics and hopefully giving or setting you up for success. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. And a lot of it is common sense. You know what I mean? I think this is where men end up getting frustrated because, again, we did not set the table. We did not create the game. Some men at some point in time just decided to play the game. But what happened is those women became delusional and realized they created the game. You're upset about this game you created that's not working out, that men don't want to play to begin with. Like, let's look back to what Dave Chappelle said. Men only have nice things because women like nice things. If he could sleep with you in a cardboard box, he would not have that apartment. He would not take showers. They do that because you care about that. Men get married because women want to get married. Men don't care about that. We would be fine with not being married and us just being together. Because to me, I'm old-fashioned. Back in the day, there was no boyfriend and girlfriend. All of this is relatively new. If I'm sleeping with you and you with me, we're married. We're together. Right. Not no nigga better be looking around you around town. Don't be making plans with nobody else. We're together. We're married. I don't need a ring to establish that. I don't need a piece of paper to establish that. And the reason they had weddings back in the day wasn't for a woman's enjoyment. It's because I can stroll my woman around town and tell every nigga this is me. Don't touch her. Don't look at her. Don't ask for her number. You don't need to know where she lives, where she works, nothing. We will go to war. I will come to your house. That is why we did these things. So we changed these traditions because women weren't happy with the arrangement. So the more that we try to accommodate that, the less happy we became. But there is no place in this world for a happy man. We have to accept being unhappy. We have to just live with it. You dig what I'm saying? So now we're in this whole world to where everything's changed, but the people who changed it don't want to be held responsible for they wanted these changes. Men never asked for none of these things that's happening.
Globally.
But on the first time I was on your show, I actually said to y'all, my predecessor in 2019 said to me that the perfect age to conceive is between 16 and 26. Right? I also then said, yeah, we need to be more productive and proactive when it comes to connecting our children with the mate at a younger age. Like, again, 10, 11, 12. They should be around some safe people that you're seeing how their energies flow with one another, because again, we're vetting this. We're taking responsibility and ownership for what happens to them. So we know that sex is a part of the problem. We know that sex is a part of our life, right? It's a sometimes it's daily for people. So if that is the case, why would we not be more proactive and putting them in safe spaces where we know these things are going to happen at some point given a time? We're not saying, hey, yeah, you're 11, 12, go and see the world and have fun at it. No, but we are watching, we're guiding, we're seeing who may be a good fit. So when you do get of age, who do we feel, who do we know is safe with you and you're safe with?
But go ahead.
There's an element that Judge Ebony K. Williams is not addressing, right?
Yeah.
And this is why you see a lot of older men, either divorcees or older men who have never been married, that are and it's not been going on for years, but it's now being exposed that for women, and the reason being is for once, as she said, that professional gets those degrees, has gone through life, and has, now you can't lead, you can't tell them shit, you can't do anything, because now it's a competition, it's a war, it's a okay, and most men primal, going keyword primal, want to lead, want to be the head of their household. So therefore, we're going back to these two key words that we've been hearing all year long: submissive and soft, right? Submissive and soft. Now, let's take, for instance, the young women in these age groups in their early 20s. Their particular age group, their men are still trying to become financially established and become mentally mature, right? But they're not. As she said in her thing, most men in their 20s, they're trying to screw everything against the wall. They are sowing their wild oats. Mm-hmm. So women maturing faster than men says, okay, well, dang, I do want to get married. He's ready. This 40-some-year-old man is ready. Or this man who has experienced life is ready. And he's financially capable of taking care of me. Who doesn't want to submit to that? Who wouldn't want to submit to that? Okay, he obviously knows where he's going in life. He has a plan of and he wants me. So yeah, I'm going to be soft and submissive.
Sign me up.
But this is why the trend is happening of why older men are looking for younger candidates.
But
because
yeah, go ahead. And there's a part too that to me is the underlying reason for all of this. That's why I was so against women in the workforce, especially women who are trying to be mothers. You just don't have the time. Like, raising a kid is a full-time job, and I've heard so many women complain about that. Like, this is a full-time job. Like, yeah, but you're choosing to work. Like, through the people you've dealt with, through the life and the path you've gone. This is why women back in the day courted men who could take care of the family, because they knew I wasn't bringing in resources or income. So nowadays, when the government's giving you this little check in this Section 8, you think you can date any man you want because you got resources. Those ain't real resources. You can't raise no kid off of that. That's the problem. So now you go get a job for $15 an hour. You can't raise no kid off of that. Like, and the price of everything is going up yearly. And women are still the most educated and the most underpaid. How does that not click? It doesn't click because of this whole independence trip. And to be independent means you take care of it. There's a leak in the pipes, you take care of it. The roof fucked up, you take care of it. The grass need cut, you cutting the grass. How you gonna have time to do all that and work your job and take care of a kid and have a social life and date somebody and be spiritual or religious? Where is all the time gonna come from? It's unrealistic. But when you tell somebody that, oh no, I gotta get it, I gotta work, you don't have to. You're choosing to. You can dumb down your means, you can spend less, you can go less places, you can make the changes. And this is why I have no sympathy for most people, because you're complaining about some shit you can fix. You out there kicking it, smoking every day, drinking every day, eating whatever you want, spending money you don't have, and then complaining you broke. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, we all got problems at the end of the day. We all trying to fight through it. But what are you doing to make your situation better overall? Not just that one little thing you're trying to change. How are you changing your whole life? Because if you're not changing anything at all. You're going to keep dating that same person because you're the same person. And you look at a lot of people's exes, they're one person. They're different personalities, different haircuts, but they really one type of person that they attract. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you should always be looking in the mirror and asking yourself, how did I put myself here? And the moment you stop, that's because you're not trying to change. It's easy to say, I'm happy with where I am. Cut it out. Then you would die. You would stop living if you was content. Nobody's content. We're all still here because we still got something we want to go get. So if we're not going to get it, what are we doing? We're complaining. We're looking for excuses. We're dodging accountability. Women act for the way the world is. Men, shut the fuck up. We haven't had a voice. We haven't been able to talk about these things. I don't judge my grandparents for how they raised their kids because they, at that time, parents wasn't asking kids, how do you feel today? That wasn't even a real thing. We live in that world now. I can ask my kids on an interpersonal level, yo, how do you feel? How did this make you feel? So now we have a responsibility to have those conversations. But I hear a lot of people saying, well, my parents didn't ask me that. That's irrelevant.
And
Right.
look at,
Everybody has different struggles. Your struggle is not going to be the same as your parents.
I,
You
I, I,
dig?
I wish we could play the Eddie Murphy clip, and it is a great analogy of why men fear marriage. It's not that we don't want to be married; it's that why we fear marriage. So the scenario that Eddie Murphy paints is that the man is getting ready to, profess his love to his woman, right? And so he knows the world. This is the 80s, mind you. This is 1987. So he knows the world that he lives in. So he's like, baby, I love you. I want to be together with you forever. You're the love of my life. Da, 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 da. And after he says all this, he says, now, could you please sign this prenuptial agreement that says that you won't screw me over if this does not work out? So Eddie Murphy, the other side of the joke is the woman says, how the F could you dare me to sign? My love has no value. And da 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 da. And then he said, after men hear all that shit, they're like, okay, we ain't got to sign no agreement. Because now you've heard all this shit. So now you've buckled to all this in your ear. And now you signed, you got into this marriage. Knowing, again, you heard all this. So you knew what type of person you was marrying. You married this person anyway. And the marriage didn't work out. What's the other side of that joke? Half. I'm gonna take half his shit. So this is the fear. It's
Yeah.
like we're not protected in any sense of the word. Marriage, we're not protected at all.
But
go ahead.
Okay, so that points to the insecurity.
Whoa, how? That's statistically correct.
From
No,
the men's side or the woman's side?
no, on the men's side, if you want me to sign, like you didn't profess your love to me. You just profess your love, and now you're asking me to give, to not only to sign, because in professing your love to me and wanting to marry me, you're asking me to give up something.
Why do y'all use the word
That's
insecurity?
just, but is
And
that not the same thing a woman's asking a man to do to get married?
Spade to spade, what the reason why you need to have these guidelines and parameters in place is because you are insecure. It's within self. Like you feel like it's not even about what you think she's gonna do. It's about what you potentially can do in the end and fuck somebody over. You have money to fuck over people. I don't, which is why you want me to sign something.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I,
That's not it at
yeah,
all.
I,
Men, that's what you got to understand for most men. And the fact that men are starting to show more emotion now, I think it gets confused that we're emotional. Like we're logical. We know the statistics. We know most men when they get divorced, they lose half their shit. We see articles every week saying this husband has to pay his wife $20,000 a week. We're logical. Why would I gamble that? And this is what I mean by how it's not reciprocated. You are asking me to give up a lot by marrying you, and I have to sign my name to marry you. What's
this is
different than me asking you to sign a prenup?
that's not blanket.
Wait, we talk about this scenario here with the Eddie Murphy thing, and it's a joke, yeah, but it's really do happen. So again, y'all know my life is different. I'm on a different foot, and I came in with the bags. I came in with the money. I left with debt. I left with nothing. I left with no house. I left with no car that I paid off. I left with the debt that I didn't pay. He's debt free. My ex-husband is debt free based off of me and my energy that I put into that situation.
Okay.
I left with debt.
Okay.
But that's anecdotal. You can't possibly think that's most men's situations leaving marriage.
No.
Not even close. So we're gonna go off of the majority, not the
Right.
minority.
No. What we're talking about is the initiation of a prenup.
Right.
I think it should already be in the contract.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to opt in for it. It
So
should already be a part of the contract.
you think you should need a prenup for the person you choose?
You said what?
For the person that you're choosing to spend your life with, you want them to sign a prenup?
It could be
Yes,
considered.
because I still don't know all of you. You're telling me to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you can't give me the benefit of the doubt that the prenup is just to protect me. That is not nothing saying nothing about you. It's just to cover my own ass.
Okay.
That's the problem. Women are taking the prenup personally. It ain't about you. I would make anyone sign it. It is what it is.
So you'll make anyone sign it, and what I said was that's an insecurity.
Right, but I don't see how it's an insecurity by covering my own ass.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's the part that doesn't make any sense. You're making something I'm doing good for myself something bad. I don't understand how that makes sense.
You don't understand how what makes sense?
How it's an insecurity by covering yourself. So a man just should be unprotected in marriage?
No, I don't think you should be unprotected. So a woman should be unprotected in marriage.
What is a woman protecting in marriage? What do you have to protect?
About the prenup.
Okay, so exactly. So therefore, let's say you're a what's the chick that's going through it right now? Went to the Usher concert.
Oh, Keke Palmer.
Keke
Doesn't even.
doesn't say well make. So there, marriage or not, there are so many men applying for this so-called punks that I don't even agree with, because I mean it's well, but let me finish. Now, basically, your are so we know that what's love got to do with it? When you broken down, and this is the joke that I'm telling you about that Eddie Murphy was saying, is that while you're in love and while you're going through things, of course, that's the furthest from your the joke is I can't believe he did this to me. I'm gonna take that pain. But we're just jumping ahead of the game now. Like, this person's feelings for me can change. This person could probably try to do something to me to actually ruin my life. So let me logically, not insecurity, let me take the emotion. Let me finish. Let me take the emotion first out of marriage to say that, hey, if we go through this and it does not work, you can't screw me over. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of, and here's a rebuttal. That I love how the emasculation takes place during this point. A lot of men want protection from money that they don't have. You don't know what I'm gonna have in the in the next 5-10 years. You don't, and that's why I said a rich man can catch a drought, a broke man can catch a wave. I don't know what I'm going to be in the next 5 years. But at the end of the day, if all the hard work that I put in and you try to destroy me, now I'm protected.
Okay. But my thing is these concepts are simple. It's a double-edged sword. This is why I said men need the reciprocation, because this is how we think. If I come to Delayne's house one day and he doesn't have an alarm system and he has an alarm system next week, I don't have to think this is for me or this has anything to do with me. I don't plan on stealing from Delayne. So if you never plan on stabbing me in the back, why would a prenup matter to you which way or the other? It should only matter if we're going to actually need that prenup. But if you never planned on doing to me having a prenup shouldn't change anything about your life.
So I like to do definitions. Insecurity: uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, a lack of confidence, or the state of being open to danger or into a situation with a partner, a life partner that you're taking off the market. You're actually saying, she's not saying, hey, take me off the market per se. She's making herself available, but you, the men, make that final decision. So again, that's why I said it was insecurity for you to then come to the table with a sheet like, oh, I do trust you and think you're the best out of 7.9 billion other people. However, I want you to sign is just in case of you getting the notion.
See, but that's the misconception.
It's just in case.
But that's the misconception. This is what we're clearing up as men. That's the misconception. I'm not telling you to sign this because of how things have gone up to this point. I don't know how you're going to be next year. Women say that all the time. Yeah, don't sign the prenup. I'll be good. That don't mean nothing. I trust you to what I know about you today. You could snake me tomorrow. Again, we live in the real world. We
And
can't be tricked anymore. We've been tricked too many times with these tricky words and this marriage and these contracts. And again, men don't ask for this. This is why it the negative quote unquote songs are the toxic masculine, the toxic songs. But why isn't Beyonce saying if you like it, put a ring on it, not toxic? Why is that not prove everything we're saying? Women do ask for marriage. Jim Jones got flack for not marrying Chrissy. Like, we would be content with not being married. That's
let
what
me
women do not understand. We're not looking for these things, but we're participating. So I have to have protection. I didn't ask for the marriage. I'm giving you what you want. This is a part of our relationship. A man feels like he needs to provide, so I'm trying to give you what you want. It's not always financial. You want
and
the idea of marriage. I want the idea of protection.
and going back to Walisha's situation. Once once I see that it's an issue, I'm definitely going to ask for that. Once I see that,
Oh,
that
absolutely. I
I'm
need two now.
because let me finish. Now you see that my significant other just put in the comments, I'm down for the prenup 100%. Now there's a high percentage that I won't even ask for it. Number one, she said, yeah, I signed it. Well, damn, okay. Check it out. It could be game, it could not be game. This is general because we don't bring our personal business into anything. So for somebody in their mind says, that could be game. It could be, it could not be. But if you look at Kendrick Lamar, if you look at E40, if you look at LeBron James, if you look at Ice Cube, the woman who wanted little got everything.
Thank
The
you.
woman who wanted very little from that man said, because why?
They have prenups?
They don't. None of them. But I'm making a point. I'm making a true point. The women who wanted little from that man, and they seen in that woman that was down from them from the struggle. Damn, you was eating grippos with me. You was doing such and such with me. You damn right you deserve half. We're just basically saying in the world at large, when people are jumping into these relationships and they don't fully know who that person is, you might want to protect yourself. There could be, so like I said, in my relationship, just to personalize it, we could do a prenup. We could probably do not. But for the person that wants very little, usually ends up getting everything because that man truly, I think people underestimate us, Tim, that we know what we're getting into. We kind of can feel who is really down for us when we look at and we pull the veil off. We're like, man, this woman been down with me for a long time. She was down with me when I had nothing. When blah, blah. And you don't owe that woman anything. You don't owe that woman that lifestyle if you come up. But most men give that woman everything is because, like Walisha said, you've built that trust. You've built that. Like, I don't really think LeBron James' wife would screw him over. I don't think so.
Yeah.
He doesn't even give me those vibes.
And those are young marriages. And this is what we have to put in perspective overall. The reason we want the prenup is because the alimony has now shifted to child support. Child support is the new alimony. Like, and you can't get out of that. There is no prenup for child support. There is no, if they find out it's your kid and they take you down there, you're paying child support. So marriage, again, men are protecting themselves because we've seen how history has gone. That doesn't change the fact that these things have happened before. Every woman wants to say, I'm not going to do that to you. Every woman that has me on child support told me they would never put me on child support. So I'm not taking nothing you're saying at face value. And if you can't take me for that, we're not compatible. I'm going to talk to you about prenup while we're dating. So don't act shocked when my lawyer is pushing those papers in front of you. See, this is what I mean by women still have to make that choice. And y'all have been a lead for making a choice. People have sugarcoated it. People have made you feel good about making the wrong choices. And I can't do that. Because as Lane said, and this is what the double standard we have to get rid of. We can be challenged and talked to in a certain tone. Men are used to that rejection. We were not born in a fantasy world. We don't think there's somebody that's out there that wants to pay our bills and love us the rest of our life. We're fighting for these things. And I feel like women too many times live in this fantasy world. Like things just magically come together and they don't. And to me, we have to challenge them. We have to push back. It has to be the message that you don't want to hear because that's the honest message.
And let me go one more scenario, and I love this scenario. This scenario got so much flack on my page when I shared it, but me and Tim, we loved it. So we love Gilly the Kid, right? We love Gilly and Wallow, and we love Toot. If you don't know who Toot is, you should follow Gilly because Gilly loves that woman's dirty draws. You hear me? But the initial meeting that they had was, well, here's how the legend goes. Gilly, invites Toot out on a date. Gilly plays like he doesn't have his credit card, like he left his wallet at the house. Toot pays for dinner, right? Toot doesn't even know that Gilly is part of Philly's Most Wanted. She don't know nothing about this man, but what she's gotten to know from him. Doesn't know that, Gilly's out in the street getting a bag, but she likes him, right? Pays for dinner. And then sets up a couple of other things. Now, all the women in the comments was like, ain't no way you gonna test me like that. I mean, come on, you can have you and your, ain't no way you gonna Gilly had to understand and try to find out what type of person is she. And once he found out what type of person she was, guess what? Let me do this, get my hand clasped. Toot got everything. Toot got everything. Toot, and listen, Gilly and Wallow wasn't making $1 million worth of game and getting to the bag the way they getting it now. Like Gilly didn't have money, but he ain't got money like he got now. So Toot done seen him through all of this shit. Love that man for who he was, not being selfish or anything like that. Gilly sees this and says, damn, I'm definitely with a selfless woman who is willing to help me get to where I'm trying to go. And let's one more hand clap for Toot. One more hand clap for Toot, because he tested her out. But you see so many women in them comments like, ain't no way you gonna run that kind of game. You a simp. You a
That was Denzel. That was Denzel and his wife too. Same story. Yeah, that was Denzel and his wife too. Same story. And you proved my point. And this is what I mean by men aren't doing these things to be emotional. We're doing it because we're evolving logically. These things were done to us. Back in the day, look at movies like Bronx Tales. They used to tell their daughters, when you go out on a date with a man, if he don't open the door for you, don't never go on another date with him again. All of these are tests. All of these are things of you trying to get to know someone better. So men, we learned from that because we kept falling trapped to that. We listening to the music, don't open the door. Now she ain't calling back. We like, oh shit, I gotta open the door for these women. We were being trained through these things. So now we're using it and it's wrong. Now we're doing it and it's wrong. Now we're insecure. We're doing the same thing that women have had that they still do to this day. We get tested all the time. Our realness gets tested. Our sexuality gets tested. Our toughness gets tested every week. So now we need reciprocation. These things cannot be a one-way street no more. It has to go two ways.
And I'm gonna let Wally speak, but this is the culture that women created. And when I say this right now, you wanted the equality, which rightfully so. You wanted to get to the bag, but you wanted the man to remain traditional.
Yes.
At the same time, you can't have them both. If you want to get in my world and my culture and you want to compete for the bag with me, these are the things that come along with it. Provision and protection. Why did men get a job in the first place? Why did we get an occupation in the first place? Why, Tim? Because of provision and protection. Why did that man hunt that? Let's go back to primal times now. This was what was the only two occupations in primal time? Either you was a hunter or a gatherer. There was only two. They didn't have shelter and all this shit like that.
And they didn't have to like it. There was no liking about your job. You did it because it had to be done. Now people are doing what they're liking. They're trying to compare it to what we have to do these things.
So let me finish. So the Romans started getting occupation. Oh, now you're a chariot maker. Oh, now you're this. Now you're that. But guess what? These gifts that God gave you were primarily to do what? Provide and protect. Still, same jobs, right? So therefore, nothing has really changed a million years later. These jobs are to do what? What do we get paid for? To eat, shelter, you know what I'm saying? And to protect ourselves.
To pay bills.
So therefore, begging to get into this world, right? But now, okay, y'all punks. Y'all don't want to take women out on dates no more. Y'all don't want to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, you asked for this.
You got your own money now, sis. Take me on a date.
So now we've lost our traditional values and our traditional ways. And anytime a man wants to be treated a certain way, oh, that's an insecurity. Oh, that's a this, that, and the other. No, either we want the playing field equal, or we want to, you know what I'm saying, we want to keep
us make the rules flat out.
We want to keep these gender roles. And that's
Let us flat out. You can't have it. And this is my only argument with women. You can't have it two ways. And that's what I see with so many modern women. You hit the nail on the head. You want it futuristic, you want it traditional. Pick a lane. Because women didn't work back in the day, and they also listened to their husband. They didn't overspeak him. They didn't call him out his name. This is what Sister Ayana talks about. You're cutting that boy down with your words. He can't even grow into a man because all these sharp words about how he works, his toughness, his realness, the things we get checked on and questioned on are you being manly? Are you being polite? Are you being quiet? The things that we always have to stick to. And it used to be survival. Nowadays, it's just for occupation. Nowadays, it's just for companionship. And we're still losing. Something's wrong. You dig? There has to be some type of disconnect within the root of what's going on. And to me, it's because the roles are lopsided. And men are finally speaking up about it. And they've been lopsided for a long time. And that's not saying men do more or women do less. It's saying people can get in a relationship and expect the other person to bring to the table more than what you do. And that's a problem to me. Like, that's a huge problem to me.
I think it's sometimes it sounds like the trauma and hurt that y'all experienced creep up towards the end.
Hopefully.
It's no negative. This is nothing negative. It's just, again, I'm the only me here. I'm the only one like me here. So I got to speak for the multitude of us, and understanding that when I hear men talk, sometimes I can hear how they were hurt. I can hear it, and it's why you should say something negative. It's just that what hurt you in your past, you don't want to happen again. You're real vocal about that. Is what I mean. And so when I hear y'all talking and saying certain things, it's y'all setting up parameters. You like Tim said, every last one of the women that said that they wouldn't put him on child support has done that. So his boundary or his defense is looking there. So if he has a child with someone else, he's already going to be going a certain way because of what women have done to him in his past. He already said, like, okay,
that's part of it, not all of it.
What's that?
That's part of it, not all of it.
Right. Right. And so I guess for me, what I'm saying is that I think that it's so many edge swords, because one of the same lady that told me about the age range in terms of women's anatomy and how powerful it'd be for us to have children at a certain age before the age of 26. One, it keeps generations closer. It keeps us being able to pass down information a lot more fluent, and teaching. We're right up underneath the next generation rather than being 40 or 50 or sometimes in some cases 60 years out from who's teaching us. We're 20 years out from who's teaching us, able to keep up with the pace. So that's one thing.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, it's good.
I do want to say this,
because I'm gonna interject as well.
I do want to say this. I will take ownership of the defense mechanism that has been crafted in men of today, and it's not even a generational based type thing. But we have to say that the hurt is coming from both sides.
Yeah.
And this is why I say this, without emasculating men and really diminishing their ability to think logically. Like, this is the playing field. Let me protect myself in this area or this culture. This is the playing field. What happened 40 years ago is not happening today. You know what I'm saying? Grandma is not staying with grandpa through his bullshit anymore. Grandpa is looking for younger. This is the climate.
I mean, like that.
Not so much, let's say 30, 40 years ago, but this is the well, okay, so even now they didn't have social media and all these things that push these agendas and this forward. So now that we have all this information at our disposal, and that we're both coming in from hurt, because guess what? The progressive Black woman basically is progressing because of that deficiency of dad leaving them with the kids, of dad leaving them with no money and things of that nature. So this is why we have the progressive Black woman, to protect herself. So it's coming from both ends, but basically because men are vocal, we become emasculated by it. It says, okay, you guys, because before, traditionally, when the household breaks, women have always had the support system, grandma, auntie, whether they was giving them good information or bad information, they still had a support system of what to do and the direction to take to protect themselves or somehow to move forward. Men would have to cry in the dark, as we said, or we would have to figure this thing out or struggle until we found somebody else to love us or to coddle us and nurse us back to health. Whatever the path that men chose, it was generally done in the dark or by ourselves. So therefore, here comes in 2012 a man named Kevin Samuels and said, "Hey, what? You know what? You don't have to take that anymore. You don't have to be subject to the abuse and the manipulation the same way that they have banded together. Let me create a chat for y'all and give y'all some game real quick of how to protect yourself." Now, what happened was men were starting to get information on how to protect themselves, how to get their kids, how to get custody of their children now, how to not keep shelling out the money and understanding laws and things of that nature, what could be done and what couldn't be done to them. Once now Kevin's the enemy. Now, well, let's attack.
Exactly.
He's bad. Oh my God, he's a woman hater. Now, basically, the two narratives that are being had on black men is we're insecure and we're woman haters. No, we've got information now to protect ourselves.
Can I say
Thank you.
thought that I didn't share is that again, I want everybody to take this with you wherever you go. This is a daily thing that you can do as you're moving about and as you're setting up boundaries, as you're doing whatever in your personal life. That we're only born with two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Fear of being put on child support or the prenup or marriage or being cheated on or all those things are things that we inherited. You're only born, I don't know how they know, but this is what I was taught as a birth worker, with the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. So unless it's one of those two things, you can slowly work on getting rid of those fears.
But that's that. But see this. So this is where I stand as a man. This is why I say a lot of this is a contradiction because this is the argument that men are coming from. That's why I said absolutely we're speaking from hurt because our hurt isn't being heard. It's only seeing one side of the picture. Oh, something must have happened to you. But you're not realizing, like he said, we're learning from y'all as well. These are things that women enact. These are memes and these are, things that come up in the community as far as if a woman just looks at another man, he's ready to leave. But a woman could get cheated on, beat up, dragged down the street. Is she gonna stay? These are things we learn from. This is why we want the prenup. These things aren't always something that happened to us. I was able to grow so much because I was the youngest. So while my brother was bumping his head, I was learning to duck. This is what we do as men. That's called logic. So a lot of these things is not from hurt. The hurt you hear in our voice is that we've been saying this for years and nothing has changed, which only means one of two things. Y'all don't care or you're not listening. There could be no other explanation. So now men are so frustrated because we've been talking about this shit for years. This is nothing new to us. This is new to the world, us having these conversations.
I,
So it's hard for us to sit back and say, well, things are changing. And they're not. Things are getting worse.
Is it not changing for no black men, or is it just for some black men?
Well, that's the thing. Some black men, if they're not helping the group, that doesn't benefit the group. If one black man gets rich and move out the neighborhood, that doesn't benefit the other black man. I can't worry about the ones that got it. There's more people who don't get it.
and man, I see something so beautiful the other day, and I'm going to shut up after this. And it showed me it was two statistics that my significant other had showed me. The first statistic I want to applaud is that two-parent households and marriages are now going back in the other direction, and that two-parent households are now the thing, and they are statistically increasing. And I just believe that it is based on the awareness and the uncomfortable conversations that we have been having over and over again about the children needing both. So thank you, parents. I don't care. I'm just sitting in the universe. Thank you, parents, for whether it's a co-parent situation or it is in fact at a marriage institution. Thank you for raising these babies simultaneously. Thank you so much because they do need it. I don't care how much of a difference we have towards our gender roles or what have you. Thank you for agreeing to raise these babies the way that they are. Now, the second thing, and I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys finish this out because we're coming to the close. There was these wedding vows, and it's going all around, these wedding vows, and this man just breaks down to his wife like, I want to wake up before you because I'm your protector. I'm paraphrasing. I'm your protector. So I want to know what type of day you're having so I can jump ahead of and get ahead of that and see how we can make the day better. There anything that should happen that you can't rely on me to protect you and provide for you because I'm a man. And he looked dead in her eyes and said, I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? This is what I know to do. You are not going to want for anything under my watch. And looks at it and means this, right? And the thing is, like, man, it dang near made me emotional. Why? Because men desire to be that. They don't know or have the tools to be that, but they desire to be that. And not every, and I'm not going to put anybody in a category, so please don't get defensive, but not every woman knows how to allow that man to be that because they've been in survival mode but to see two African Americans, a black man stating his claim that says, I declare that I will be the protector and the provider of you, and you won't have to worry under my watch. And her submitting to that and saying, baby, I know you got me. And yes, everything was, it was yes, yes. And we won't say it's compliance because that's a bad word, right? We'll say submission. I submit to your plan. I submit to the words that you're saying to me to be true. And if you say this, the only accountability is I'm going to hold you accountable to the words that you've declared to me under God and these people around. So you can't tell me that men don't desire to be that man that is going. I wish I could see it, man. It's a both. It to the strongest, brother. It'll bring a tear to your eye because that is what love is about. He broke her walls down. He did. Because even if she wasn't that person, his declaration to her said, well, damn, where else am I going to get this? So even if I have the defense mechanism up, I'm going to, my declaration is going to penetrate through to that. So therefore, as Wally said, as Tim said, and as I'm saying, if you're not getting that, look inward first, communicate, and then make a decision from there. As I always said, in any road, you can change your mind. With a person, you can change your mind. With life or the direction, you can change your mind. But you have to do what's healthy for you. But I want our women to understand he just raised the bar. He ain't famous. We don't know him to be a rapper, a politician, or nothing. But if you find this video, he raised the bar of where we're trying to be. And you should try like this. We should go back to the days that we provided, the days protected our women. Okay?
Which and that I agree with everything you said wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? And I think we're there. I think that is a part of what's so frustrating is it's going to take a village, but the whole village has to buy in. That's the importance of submittance. You know what I mean? That I think one of the best conversations we had on this topic is when Sis came on the show. She was married to the preacher. I think she was a preacher too. I don't remember her name, but she was saying like how she had to let him lead. Like she was pushing against his way. She was pushing against what he was showing her was the way and telling her, look, I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to force you to get it. I'm not going to beat you over the head with the lesson. But this is the way. I'm coming here. I'm showing you. And I feel like, for me personally, that's where I am. I had to get to that point in my life because I felt like I was chasing and trying to convince people that, oh, you got to clean your life up. You got to heal. You got to do this. But I feel like we're getting to a point now where we can only lead by example. We have to become that person. And I want everybody to find somebody they love. I want everybody to be able to experience a relationship and experience marriage. But that's not realistic. And it's not realistic because everyone doesn't want that. So first, we got to start talking to people enough to identify what they want. Men has been spoken for so long. And now we're speaking up. We don't need people to tell us what we want or how we feel or what we need. We're going to show you as a man to a woman. And if that man's not showing you, he's not committing to you. He's showing you through his actions he's not committing. Every man's not going to come out and say, I don't choose you. Some are just not going to answer your calls and treat you like shit. He's showing you he doesn't want you. So what we're saying is, yes, we understand this is not every man that thinks like this. We're working with them too. We talk to them too. We're trying to hold things with them too, because this isn't one-sided. But a lot of times when we have this conversation, to me, it feels one-sided. It feels like we're talking about how men can adjust. And we don't talk enough, to me, about how women can adjust. What is the woman prepared to do now? It's a lot of men declaring, okay, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna protect you. That bear come, I got it. But what are you doing to declare? You know what I mean? And not to make it even, just to make him feel good, just to make him feel loved, just to make him feel like, you know what? There's one person out there that got me. I'm good today. Because a lot of men don't have that. They have -3 people that care about them. They don't have one person. And we do that for each other. That to me is how brotherhood got so strong. We learned to love each other through that hurt, through that ugliness, through the filth, through the poor. So what a man is saying is, if my brother can love me at my worst, my woman has to be able to love me at my worst. You can't just love the better version of me. You can't just love the dream in your head of Prince Charming. And a lot of us have been trying to live up to Prince Charming's, and we can't. We can't. We're us. I'm Tim. I can't be the man you wanted when you was 11. I can't be the guy that let you down at 21. I can't right the wrongs that your father did. I could be me. And if I'm good enough, choose me. I'm going to choose you. Because again, that's how men work. It's easier for me to love me when I know you love me back. But we become simps because we're just giving out love. We're just loving people to be loved back. That's a famous quote I heard. When two parents raise a child through love, they go to school to learn. When the child doesn't have their love, they go to school to be loved. And there's so many people out here just jumping in shit to be loved because they wasn't nurtured with that love. And it's not because the parents didn't try. You know what I mean? That's another misconception we got to get out of people's ideas. Your parents didn't fuck up because they didn't try. Some of them tried. They just didn't have the tools. So the lesson you should take from that is the tools is the most important thing, the preparation. I tell these things to my sisters, not because I hate you, because I love you. And love, like Walisha said, is much more powerful than fear. You know what I mean? But sometimes love hurts. Sometimes love is somebody telling you about yourself.
I want Walisha to have the last word, but I want to really expound on what you said, just on the reciprocation part. Right. Ladies, reciprocation is not matching dollar for dollar, date for date, lifestyle for lifestyle. That is not reciprocation. Reciprocation is, I'm taking you out on a date as a Bronx Tale. The least you can open my side of the door.
Thank you.
I'm paying for dinner. Get the tip, baby. That's all you gotta do is get the tip. If pause. If basically you're living at my home and I'm paying all the bills, I should come home to a clean home. I should come home to a cooked meal. I should be, at least before you send me out, I know that I didn't do something that you didn't like me to do, but save it. Save it till I get home. Don't send me out into the world like that. This is reciprocation. It's not matching dollar for dollar. It's let me be the yin to your yang. So if I am the breadwinner, let me make it possible to send you out there the strongest, the most mentally sound. Okay, because it in turn, what does it do? It benefits me. So when we get rid of this dominating culture that I have to win and I have to show that I'm the boss, when we all work together to be the yin and the yang, this is what forms that bond. But we get reciprocation so fucked up.
Yep.
Dollar for dollar. No, I don't need you to do that. I can do that. But do something to help me. I want you to have the last word.
No, I appreciate you. I love you. I got bad love. Thank you for having me and in this space.
Yes.
And giving me the opportunity to speak my truth. I think that it is time for us to have the conversations, but also with the solutions. You know, I'm all about solution. I don't want to. I know y'all deal with the same things time and time again, like myself, but I want to be more solution oriented when giving women, besides saying, "Oh, submit," giving women something to do when it comes to supporting you, when it comes to listening, having a listening ear, but then also having is it just, do you want me to listen only? Do you, in this particular moment, am I listening only? So giving sisters something to do besides shut the fuck up, because that's coming. That is coming. That is a bigger part of what we deal with.
I'll let you come out with that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to really impacting us in a way to save us, because the domestic cases that I witnessed in these last 45 days here in Columbus, Ohio, A lot of them were initiated by the woman, the mouth and the words that came out. And I've been there where I've provoked. So I know the energy, again, power that we carry. So hopefully sooner than later, we will have more solutions when it comes to co-parenting, talking to your mate, talking to a man, and really holding up the value of that man and letting him know that, listen, you're safe to share your, you're safe to share what vexes you, what pisses you off, what I've contributed to make you feel that way, and having a safe space to fill you up with something afterwards, not just be here, but then put some action, put some boots on the ground toward changing this narrative. I hate it that it is because it's so prevalent that, like you said, a guy shouted at me on his podcast. He said, "Nah, stop, shut up, stop that. I just gave you a whole problem, and here you are comparing your problem to my problem. Don't ever do that shit again. Mm-hmm. Don't ever do that." And I did it. He got love for me. He spoke to my spirit and my spirit. But I knew that I was not educated enough to comprehend how to meet him where he was at. And I know even with saying that I'm for the mission, that I'm for this, that I have a problem, I still ain't got all the things in a row to assist. So I know y'all are going to have to do due diligence with assisting us to assist y'all. Just how we had a conversation of what we need from men, this is and that and the other. Y'all know, y'all can write books about it, right? On the flip side, yeah, we hear y'all. Yeah, we know certain things, but we don't know how to listen and shut the fuck up.
I challenge you. Yeah. I challenge you to have 2 versions of that seminar. Because men have, even though we've become more vocal, we have become less effective showing results, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say this, is that men need to shut the fuck up too, because we've developed a culture where men are demanding so much out of women, but they are not living the life that reflects what they want from that woman. It's like, be soft, and we both got to go to work. We both got 9 hours and 50 hours out of the day. How do you want me to be soft when you don't clean up after yourself? I ain't trying to see those all over the place. Come on now. How do you want me to be this person? You're not living the life that is reflective of what you want. You say you want to be this man and getting money, but you in front of the video, or you always talking about, but you're not doing the things that are getting us to where you say you want us to be. And it's frustrating on both sides as a woman to sit and watch you and know that I have a tone, I have a way that I can encourage you. Right. But it may not be liking to you. It got me off my ass. Right. Well, and to a degree, but then you're a certain character already. Yeah. So, but imagine saying certain things to a man that you fighting for, that you believe in. Again, Tim said something about that potential. We got a lot of these men that are not necessarily on couches, but just don't see their own self-worth. And you got to, I know you, I see you, and they're trying to speak to that. Right. But I got to be watchful because I'm a mother. And guess what? I'll say this to you guys, fellas. Women are visual creatures too. So why do they listen to the pastor? The pastor look like he got it going on. The pastor is, and he got cars, and he speaks well, and he's gotten educated. And he put money in my pocket. And exactly. But he has that visual to say, you know what? He looks like he. So you wonder why that dude is in your girl's ear.
But like, to me, that's what's making relationships more problematic, because now it's all these people I got to compete with. Your manager at your job, your pastor, Jesus. Well, I got to compete with all these men in your life that clearly I'm not better than.
No. Let's look at it from a different way. Let's look at it from a different way, because I understand the way that you're looking at it. Let's look at it from a different way. As the man has stated in his vows, I'm going to beat the day. I'm going to beat the day to achieve. I'm going to beat the day. I may not be him today. I may not be the guy, but I'm going to shut the fuck up and show you better than I can tell you. Now, if you choose to still not look at my results and observe me as a king that I am, then I can leave. Then I can go and and pursue what I need to pursue, and you just missed out on that blessing, or you learned from me, because I may not be the one, but if we shut the fuck up, then maybe you'll listen to me over Pastor so and so, over Bishop so and
But
so.
to me, it's, I mean, that's a chance. That's a gamble some men take. You know what I mean? I wouldn't take that gamble. To me, that's the problem. Like, if you're marrying me, I'm not saying your whole life has to be around me, but if you're saying you have another dynamic with another person, that person should be trying to uplift our relationship. If they're not pouring into making me better to match your level, they are not beneficial to us. They're just beneficial to her. And that's how a lot of these relationships on both sides, they end up. One person has all of these support system and the other one feels like they're alone.
Yeah,
And I feel like relationships have to get back to y'all being the focal point and then building people around your relationship. But a lot of times people get into relationships that other one already has that support system and they bring it over. Your relationship inherits they mama or they daddy, you know what I mean, or they pastor, or people who don't have your best interest. The auntie saying put Delayne on child support, put him on child support. The uncle saying, oh, don't let no man treat you like that. That's what I'm saying. Everything you do, it's showing your loyalty to me. Everything you do is communicating how much you're interested in this. To me, the solution is accountability on both sides. It's, you have to already assume you're my problem. You have to already assume you have a hand in why my day is going bad, because now I know you're looking for a solution to fix it. But if that's not the first conversation we have, to me, that's what's putting a strain on these relationships. It's two people working on separate issues side by side, but not together.
I don't, and I get your the narrative I want to paint is to my kings. I'm still speaking to my kings. Don't be so comfortable because she keeps giving you passes. Don't be so comfortable because she keeps giving you your potential a chance. Don't dwell in that, man. I mean, because loyalty has its expiration. You know what I'm saying? We always say that loyalty has its expiration. So don't get comfortable in that. If you say that this is where you want to be, let it be proven in your actions. Let it be proven in the direction that you want to go, because the reason why she is going back to the visual, I'm not trying to villainize women at this point. The reason why anybody listens to anybody is because it feels like you know what you're talking about. From what I see and from what I'm experiencing, you look like you know what you're talking about. A lot of times we may have the answer, but we're not showing the movement. We're not showing the fruits that will cause someone to follow us. So that's why I'm saying is just make sure that when you talking about you want this lifestyle, you want this from a woman, just make sure that shut the fuck up and reflect it. You know what I'm saying, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And that way we can go in that right. That's the only point I was trying to make. But we gotta go because we can keep going. But this has been so dope. I'm gonna hand clap both of you because
Great show.
now we have three different perspectives, but now we can't say me and Tim is having a woman bashing session, because we do have a woman that has offered her opinion, her difference of opinion, and her agreements and with a lot of stuff that we said, man. But I think that this can go further. I want to give a shout out to the people that have been on the check-in. Kay, I'm sorry we got to your comment so late, and we're going to do better about that. I'm sorry. Jessica, Trinae, Adrian, who supports and anybody else who has shared this on their page or anything like that, man, we truly appreciate you, because we enjoy this. It's each and every single Friday, Good Friday, with Walisha, Tim, and myself, DJ Lane Love, man. We love Tim. You gonna be anywhere this weekend?
I'm chilling this weekend.
Okay.
No
Okay.
events, no nothings. I'm resting.
There it is.
It's full moon tonight.
Full moon tonight. Oh,
Super
shoot.
moon.
That means y'all should come out to CJ's. I'm gonna use that as a plug. Come on out to CJ's and have a good time. We do this each and every single. And Tim, if you ever want to come to CJ's and do a poetry spot, man, you trust me, we'll let you get about one or two of them off, man, just to come for the vibe. I'll put some nice little, you know what I'm saying, neo soul music up on there, and you can go. And I mean, seriously.
Y'all ready for that, man?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right.
Because that's what the Carousel experience is. We don't say it's karaoke and live performance mixed with a little party in between. Okay, that is the logo. That is what we stand by. Karaoke. You to get in there? No, not at all. No cover whatsoever. So come on out 8 to midnight, and this is what we do. You got anything going on?
No, I'm gonna be laying low. Listen, y'all, I'm going to Ghana.
Hey.
And all of
That's
everything for the so I done made already some that I've met.
Nice, nice. Two more there who is doing so. Want to go to her page, get more details on that. Sickle Cell Awareness Cookout, and I believe it's from like 2 to 6. And then I got to give a hand clap to this. Kim Brazell has had me back by popular demand after 4 years. We will be at the Streetlight Guild from 8 to 10. Poetry and hip hop blended together. We haven't done this in 4 years, but I beg you to come out. Not even ask. I beg you to come out. This is Saturday at the Streetlight Guild. I will be playing hip hop music to her poetry. And if you've seen any of the clips, man, we do this for real. So please come out to the Streetlight Guild for an experience. All right. But other than that, man, God loves you. And I just, we're going to chop it up a little bit in the green room. And then we're going to get up out of here. Thank you. Join us next week and we'll do it all over again. All right, y'all.
Peace.